Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the covered boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. First they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sankara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take.
It is T20 Bouncy Castle Jamboree time, the 17th final day, 17th finals day, the 11th at Edgbaston, but the first for Guerrilla Cricket. Well, Edgbaston is set very fair indeed, blue, cloudless skies and a warm late September sun. The four finalists, well, first up, NOTTS 2017 winners will play Worcestershire 2018 champions. And NOTTS in that one have won the toss and have elected to bowl. Not surprising, given that in all four quarterfinals the chasing team did the business. In the second semi-final, Essex, sole representatives of the Southern Group and never won a final, will play Derbyshire, who make their finals day debut. And Derbyshire have three players with a combined age of 112. None other than Boyd Rankin, Ravi Rampal and, would you believe it, Darren Stevens at 43, who you always think of as a man of Kent. Well, here he is today on loan for Derbyshire. And what a crew we've got. To my left, making an all too rare but nonetheless incredibly welcome return to Guerrilla Cricket, Captain Mike Yates, who will be on tweets. Hello, Mike.
Good morning to everybody.
Tweets, Crick Tracker messages, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. There's just about every channel going you have to follow, mate. It's a mind-boggling job. And to my right, stalwart, doyen, ever-present. He is the, I'm trying to think of he's the Darren Stevens of Guerrilla Cricket. It's none other than Knuckle Pandy.
Morning, Tony. Morning, Mike. Yeah, we're delighted to be doing Finals Day. Our first time ever doing every ball of Finals Day as Guerrilla Cricket. We could not be more excited. Those teams for you, with Nottinghamshire having won the toss and having elected to bowl. A few changes from both teams from the semi-finals, where Nottinghamshire blasted past Middlesex with Alex Hales and Chris Nash, and where Moeen Ali did the business pretty much single-handedly against Sussex. So Nottinghamshire bring in Joe Clark and Stephen Mullaney. Joe Libby and Imad Wasim make way. Imad is on international duty with Pakistan. For Worcestershire, Hamish Rutherford's back from New Zealand duty. Brett D'Oliveira is fit again, and Wayne Parnell is back. Joe Leach, Ross Whiteley and Dylan Pennington miss out. So Nottinghamshire going with Chris Nash, Alex Hales, Joe Clark, Ben Duckett, Sumit Patel, keeper Tom Moores, captain Dan Christian, Stephen Mullaney, Luke Wood, Matt Carter and Harry Gurney. And Worcestershire going with Ricky Vessels, Hamish Rutherford, captain Moeen Ali, keeper Ben Cox, Brett D'Oliveira, Ross Whiteley, Wayne Parnell, Darryl Mitchell, Ed Barnard, Charlie Morris and Pat Brown.
Well, Luke Wood it is who is going to be taking the first over. I always get confused at Edgbaston. Are we at the Birmingham end or are we at the City end? Well, the Birmingham end is the City end, right? If I remember my Birmingham, my Edgbaston geography. He's going to be bowling to Hamish Rutherford, who's got best of 106, which he made versus Central Districts.
And we do have a jingle for Hamish Rutherford.
Well, that's a good start.
You take the high road and I'll take the low road, and we'll both be in New Zealand.
Comes Luke Wood, left arm, swinging and driven back towards him, and it's diving stop to his left. He gets one hand to it, just tilts it away, and Alex Hales at mid-off does the rest. Alex Hales, of course, conspicuously missing from England's World Cup triumph. he will probably see today as a form of redemption. Notts have had an absolute stinker of a season in the county championship, haven't they, Mike? On their way down to the second division to play with the greats of Middlesex, Derbyshire and Worcestershire, as this is pulled away short, and it's going to plug actually, and the one boundary rider down there, which looks couldn't see who it was, it's Ben Duckett, I think. Fairly unmistakable chunky form of Ben Duckett is able to do the fielding. Drop short, pulled by Rutherford, up in the air it went over the square leg umpire, but Ben Duckett was out there on the fence. Wasn't really a chance of a catch, but I certainly don't think Rutherford got everything he wanted on that. So Worcestershire are up and running. Rutherford has two vessels at the other end. Won't be facing yet. This one is off stump again. It's pulled down to leg though, back onto the square leg umpire. Again, it won't quite make it to the fence. Again, Ben Duckett is the man down there, and again it is 2 for Hamish Rutherford.
Yeah, Hamish Rutherford had a weird couple of weeks. Was doing the business for Worcestershire at the top of the order, along with his Kiwi compatriot Martin Guptill. But Guptill got himself injured on New Zealand's recent tour of Sri Lanka. Hamish Rutherford had to be flown to Sri Lanka for the grand total of 1 ball in the middle of Lasit Malinga, taking 4 in 4.
Left arm over, Luke Wood again down leg side. That will be a wide and signalled as such. The first extra.
Yeah, sundries coming to the party, as they did for Worcestershire in their quarter-final victory, where Moeen Ali was absolutely brutal, brilliant, beautiful best for Moeen Ali, and extras was the third highest scorer.
Rob Bailey and Alex Wharf, the umpires for this one today. In comes Luke Wood, just full, and again clipped uppishly over mid-wicket. But again, Ben Duckett, who's been in the game a lot for a deep fielder, was the man on duty, and this time there will be no run. So Rutherford on 5, Kepler Vessels. Actually, no, they took a single.
Kepler Vessels?
Kepler Vessels, not Kepler Vessels. Ricky Vessels, the son of Kepler Vessels. I'm showing my age. Ricky Vessels, 219 T20s, a strike rate of 137 and a best of 110. Which he made for Derbyshire at Trent Bridge.
Well, other way round, for Nottinghamshire at Derbyshire, formerly of Nottinghamshire. He formed a very good opening partnership with Alex Hales when Nottinghamshire won the T20 Blast. Well, in fact, when they did the one-day double a couple of years ago.
Indeed. Here comes Luke Wood. Full driven, and that is away through cover. It will be caught up, though, I think. Indeed it is. Stopped once again by Ben Duckett, who, by my reckoning, has been fairly instrumental of 4 out of 6 of the first balls of that over he's been in the game, hasn't he?
Get the feeling it's one of those days where the ball's going to follow him around the ground.
Yeah,
well,
outfield hasn't quite quickened up yet, so there's been lots of 2s and now a 3 for Ricky Vessels.
Yeah, the pitch itself, from what we've been seeing and understanding, is very dry. That concludes, however... no, it doesn't. He's got 1 ball left, as Luke Wood. He's going to be bowling that to Hamish Rutherford.
The 4th member of our team, which is going to be growing and changing through the course of the day, has just rung the doorbell, so someone will have to go and let him in at the end of the over.
Who was that?
Should be Andy Ward.
Oh, it should be Andy Ward, shouldn't it? Wood is going to be in. Left arm over. And again, he speared that into the legs. Rutherford had moved across to try and give himself a little bit of room outside of the leg stump, and Wood rather intelligently followed him, and it kind of speared off the outside edge and went to backward point. They didn't run, so that is 9 off that first over. So good start for Worcestershire. It's always hard to know these days what a decent score is. Well, we've seen some amazing chases, haven't we, in the Blast this year?
I mean, both certainly in the quarter final. I mean, the 160 wasn't a huge score, but Nottinghamshire did it with time to spare, and Worcestershire was superb.
Well, Middlesex chased 220 odd down at Taunton just to make it to the quarter final.
I am going to just go and open the door.
Yes, we better had Matthew Carter is going to be taking new ball duties from the other end. Rob Bailey, the standing umpire there. let me see. We have we have a sort of a short third man in place. This one is floated by Carter, just pushed to mid on, and they will take a comfortable single.
NOTTS have not really, well, I think Notts and Essex both haven't really found will be struggling with some of the loss of their overseas players. Imad Vazim has been superb for Nottinghamshire at all stages of the innings, including in the power play. And one to watch in the second semi-final is that Essex, without Adam Zampa and without Mohammed Ahmed, don't really have a reliable power play bowler.
No, they've got some power in the batting lineup, and they've got the experience. If you look at Tendaskar, if you look at Bapara, as Carter wheels in, and it's worked off his legs by Rutherford, the man at backward point is Samit Patel, who dives to his right, and all of Edgbaston reverberates to the sound of his thud against the Edgbaston turf. And there was no run.
Very fine player, Samit Patel.
Oh yes, and we have a lovely jingle for him too. That one's lofted up and over and
good
taken.
Catch.
Not up and over, brilliantly taken by Alex Hales at extra cover. The first Worcestershire wicket has fallen, and they are 10 for 1.
Pace off from Matt Carter, Rutherford into the stroke too early, skewed a little bit off the outside part of the bat, and Alex Hales did really well at cover point to judge that perfectly. Got into position early and jumped up, used all of his 6'4" frame to make that catch look a lot easier than it had any right to be.
Yeah, he needed to as well. I thought he'd been successful in clipping it over him, but he hadn't. Rutherford has gone for 5, which is off 7 balls. He's caught Hales, bowled Carter, and Worcestershire are 10 for 1. It'll be very interesting to see if chasing is the right thing to do. As we said, it was in absolutely every single quarter final. Have you got any tweets, messages, or general hellos from anyone?
Yeah, hello to Linux Lear, who was asking where the YouTube stream is and has found it.
Oh, good.
Good morning, and woof to Muttley. Good morning
Woof.
to Umpire Bell.
Hello.
Good morning to Martin Lawrence.
Hello, Martin.
And over on Crick Tracker, we've got Roger McCann joining us. So good morning, Roger. We've got Michael Wagner joining us as well. So good morning to Michael.
Good morning to you all. As Carter is continuing, and this is away to, well, guess who? Ben Duckett, who is now stationed at point.
By the great man of Worcester.
And it is, of course, none other than this fellow.
Move over, Amlo. I like it.
Carter again, down.
Oh, wow.
Lofted up over long on all the way for 6 Pennyworth. What a super shot, and what a start for Moeen. We're still playing his jingle, and he's already got himself a 6. And I think, was that the end of that over? No. Carter is in again and again. Oh, Lottie, has he got enough of this, Moeen Ali? He's got underneath that there. It's 1 bounce and 4.
I'm not sure. I think that might have gone all the way.
We'll just wait for the umpire's signal.
Dan Christian.
Dan Christian. It looked like as though Moeen Ali certainly didn't get as much of it this time around, and it went up and up and up. We're going to have a look for you now. It definitely went up. Dan Christian's back-pedalling for all he's worth. I think it did get enough, didn't it?
I think it has just gone for 6.
Has.
2 sixes in a row for Moeen Ali.
So
2 sixes in a row. 2 sixes in a row. 2 sixes in a row.
So Carter, the unstoppable sex machine, has gone for a few, but also made the first breakthrough. We're having a look at exactly where this pitch is. It's pitching in a shadow, and it's kind of going out the sunshine and into the shadows of the stand.
Just cleared the sponge.
Just cleared the sponge. 22 for 1 off 2. So you can do the maths on that. It's 11 and over. Ali already on 12 off 3. Remember, he got a spectacular ton. He's a Ricky Vessels, who's facing Luke Wood, though, drops the bat on that just away into the offside, and they'll run a quick single, and they'll bring Moeen Ali back onto strike. Yes, Moeen Ali in those quarter-finals got a ton off about 50-odd balls.
It was 120 at 1 off 61 balls, I think it was, and basically it doesn't appear to have stopped from there. He's had an interesting time at Moeen not given a red ball contract. He's going to be taking a break from Test cricket for a little while. Does have a white ball contract for England, but certainly at this level and at any kind of county level, he's an absolutely supreme player.
I'll tell you what, though, he was worried about that second six. I'm pretty sure he didn't think he got all of it. Wood is in again, flicked beautifully off his legs by Moeen Ali, down to backward square. They will take another single. They're keeping that scoreboard a ticking. Actually, did they not run there? No, they did run, and as we've got the junior trainee on Sky Captions again. 24 for 1. A reminder that Nottinghamshire won the toss, elected to put Worcestershire in on a beautiful dry track. That wasn't necessarily a surprise. We got a, as ever, fair sprinkling of fancy dress in the rapidly filling Edgbaston crowd. We got a bunch of Mexicans. We got a number of Moeen Ali masks. That's driven gorgeously by Ricky Vessels through cover. No point in chasing that. That's 4 more.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Yeah, beautiful shot. The son, of course, of Kepler Vessels. Did D'Oliveira make the starting 11?
Brett D'Oliveira is playing as the grandson of the great Basil.
Well, they're grandson of Basil and son of Brett. And we're just having another look at that, and it was beautifully classical shot. Oh, that's a full toss by Luke Wood. And Ricky Vessels has to sort of somewhat defensively prod this away into the offside. He's looking back down the track, and he's looking at particularly at Rob Bailey saying, hang on, wasn't that a bit high? It probably just dipped enough. If he hadn't got back to it, it would have taken him on the lower box region, I suspect. Oh, it's been given as a free hit and a no ball.
Over the line! Huh? I'm sorry, Smokey. You were over the line.
Dan Christian is coming in and going, well, that was a late decision. And he's making... Oh, hello, we're seeing he's right in the grill of Rob Bailey. This is all a bit unseemly.
He's right in umpire cam.
Yeah, that's not a good look, that.
Well, we know. That's... perhaps he's been watching the rugby this morning. Yeah, well, that was... I can tell you Dan Christian is spitting tacks here.
I'm not sure that was a no ball, to be honest.
Well, I think that's Dan Christian's point. And this free hit is beautifully bowled and speared in as a Yorker. And Vessels was only able to just jab the bat down and it pushed to get it away into the onside and take a single. So a good degree of damage limitation there. Christian is walking away, shuntering to himself. Probably trying to calm himself down. It's all smiles now with the umpire. Knuckle, I think you have a fair point, because to me it looked like it had dropped enough. Rob Bailey with his umpire cam, which was full of the looming mug of a very angry Dan Christian. Wood, good length ball, bat dropped on it by Moeen Ali, pushed away to mid-on, and they will take another single. Good running by these two. 32 for 1. We're 1 ball shy of the finish of the third over.
And the pitch does look like a pitch where you're going to have to use your variations. You're going to have to take pace off the ball, because when bowlers don't have express pace, so there really isn't anyone of express pace on really any of the teams that we're going to be seeing today, it looks like a good track.
Yes, I think it does, and very high. It's always difficult to know what a good total is, but we'll just hold that thought as Wood. That's on leg stump, and there's a big shout. To me, that was going way down leg, and it was a very optimistic shout. So there's no run. 32 for 1 at the end of 3. Ricky Vessels, of course, whose arrival in county cricket wasn't to the pleasure of everyone, was it? Nottinghamshire rather exploited a loophole to get him on some kind of entrepreneur visa, as I remember.
Yeah, the ball pitched outside leg and was swinging a little bit further down leg, but there is a little bit of swing there for Luke Wood.
There is. He is wicketless so far, and we're going to see for the first time, I think, once of England, who knows, maybe again, Harry Gurney.
Probably one of the least popular players in county cricket in some circuits, but a very, very fine T20 bowler.
He is indeed. He's got an average of 22 and a best of 5 for 30.
Was superb for KKR in the IPL earlier this year.
And he's in. Left arm again, and that's speared down leg side. Moeen Ali just watches it through. Rob Bailey spreads his arms wide like a giant green and blue condor.
Wide.
Rob Bailey does have quite the wingspan.
He does. He does. If he actually took off, it'd be fabulous with his helmet cam, wouldn't it? Think of the views you'd get. It'd be like you wouldn't need spider cam.
There was a...
You just have Bailey cam as he swooped over Edgbaston, and that one is a ball on a good length, and Moeen Ali just fends it back to the bowler. Dot ball.
Well, I remember there was a BBC nature show where they sort of did that. They put a camera on a
Rob
bird.
Bailey flying across a cricket ground.
They put a camera on a goose.
Oh,
one of the as geese migrate, and it was narrated by David Tennant. It was wonderful.
Oh wow! Wasn't it Sir Alex Ferguson who always referred to geese?
Yes,
as
that's
the
right.
Ultimate in teamwork. In comes Gurney. Down the track comes Moeen Ali. It's the same shot again. It's lofted over long on. It's several rows back. It's 6 more to Moeen Ali. He's got the taste for it today.
He's making this look absurdly easy.
Well, that one he did. So he's hit 360s. 2 of them he's absolutely got right off the screws quite magnificently. That was a flamingo shot as he lifted his back leg at the same time. One of them, I'm pretty sure he had his heart in his mouth because he didn't get all of it, and we know that Dan Christian was in the game. Perhaps that contributed to Dan Christian's general displeasure, because he probably did rather misjudge it. In comes Gurney. He's coming around the wicket. It's flicked off his thigh by Moeen Ali. It's into the mid-wicket region. They will take another single. Worcestershire ramped up 40 off 3.5, so they are making good use of this power play. That 6 was 92 metres.
Yeah, a long way back into the crowd. I think actually Dan Christian was probably...
It was a crowd catch too.
It was, slightly juggled crowd catch. I think Dan Christian was actually running back from mid-on, so probably wasn't in with a shout of catching it.
Well, this guy who's made the crowd catch is milking the hell out of it. The fact is someone else took the pace off the ball by being brave enough to stick their hand up first. So I'm not sure if that counts. Do you get your prize if you...
I don't know what the prize is. By the way, we do have a jingle for Ricky Vessels. She'll bring you after this
in
ball.
comes Gurney again. That's a ball on a good... Took the pace right off that. I suspect that was a knuckleball as he came round the wicket. And Vessels, who I think was shaping himself to try and probably dab it away into the offside, suddenly realised that there was no pace on the ball at all. And he ended up just playing a fairly conventional push to
no, I will give the guy some credit. He actually did catch it cleanly.
Was it a clean catch?
A clean catch through someone else's hands.
Oh, well, that case, okay. And that one is, again, a dot ball.
Not sure whether they
Pushed
are
into the
offering a
offside.
prize on finals day for catches in the crowd.
Not sure. But
Well, if you know, let us know.
Yeah, while we're pondering that, Ricky Vessels' jingle.
He's not empty. He's Ricky Vessels. He's not angry, but his dad is kept.
For the right-hander, he's back over the wicket and up onto his toes goes Vessels and pushed straight to mid-off. And again, there's no answer. Very well. Apart from that 6, it's been a pretty tight over. So 8 off the over, but 6 of those in one majestic, giant shot from 96-metre drive from Moeen Ali.
Yeah, the one that Carrie Gurney actually bowled at full pace. Got it on a length. The rest were all mostly knuckleballs. Mike, what have we got on Twitter and other social medias?
Good morning to Mog, who's asking, Jesus, how old is that Gurney jingle?
Well, probably as old as him. It was his birth jingle at his in the maternity ward wherever he was born.
Linux Leah says she's paid absolutely no attention to English domestic T20s, which will no doubt make her thoughts on today's games more entertaining.
Well, we'll look forward to those.
He's
bowled. He's gone. Well, that is a huge wicket. Carter, the unstoppable sex machine, has got rid of the incredibly sexy Moeen Ali, who was looking to pull him over mid-wicket. It just beat him for flight, knocked back the leg stump. And I take that back. It's probably the off stump. Yes, it was. And Moeen Ali, the danger man, has to go for 21.
Smartly bowled by Matt Carter. We saw him get Hamish Rutherford with one that he took the pace off. That was much faster and flatter. Beat the sweep shot from Moeen Ali. Kind of went through him and under the bat. And Moeen Ali's magnificently entertaining innings is over. Moeen Ali gone for 21 with 3 sixes. That brings another very experienced man to the middle.
In the meantime, we've
formerly
got
of South Africa.
I do have to tell you the fancy dress though. We've got Ronnie Corbett sat next to the Joker from Batman, who in turn was sat next to Bruce Forsyth.
And that's me not sleeping on I did tonight.
Yes, what an interesting dinner party that might make.
Here is Worcestershire's number 4.
Wayne Parnell, right?
Parnell.
It is Wayne Parnell. It is
Wayne Parnell.
Colpack player indeed. As this one is just pushed back towards mid-on, and they will take an easy single. 9 balls was all it took Moeen Ali to make his 21, but he will be desperately disappointed that he wasn't able to go on, and that ball just took his off stump right out the ground. He knew he'd mistimed it. And Patel, Carter and the son of Peter Moores. That's always a difficult job, isn't it? Being the son of the coach or the manager.
Tom Moores has had a good season for Nottinghamshire.
If you have an absolute stinker, it's always difficult to go and explain it to your dad, isn't it? Oh, what a shocking delivery that was. It was attempting a slower ball. Was Carter. And that was not only it was wide, it bounced about 3 times on its way to short fine leg.
Yeah, Tom Moores had no chance.
Tom Moores, well, he probably had no clue what was going on.
Wide.
In comes Carter again. That's a much better ball, more conventional, just guided down to short third man, and it will net a single for Parnell. So he's on to 2. Vessel's on 10. Carter has 3 balls left. He has the 2 wickets to fall for 17, so he's been expensive, but he's also taken probably the key wicket. That's a big shout for LBW, and it was going down leg. Ricky Vessels just steps back. He didn't look remotely troubled for a moment there. He'll be more troubled about the fact it was a dot ball.
And the fact he's 10 off 11.
44 for 2. Yeah, well, he's Moeen Ali it was who got the things moving. He's flicked that one, but he's flicked that straight to short fine leg, and again there won't be a run. So Ricky Vessels not really getting his timing right yet. He's got Wayne Parnell for company. In comes Carter, flicked off his legs by Vessels. This time there will be runs. It's away to deep square leg, and they will. Alex Hale's the man there. They would take a single. So actually, I think that means Vessels, who's been struggling to get himself moving, will have kept the strike. I'm not necessarily sure that's fine. How are we doing then on our various Twitter-arty, YouTube-arty, Facebook-arty?
Yeah, folks, do be careful you don't jinx folk who've just come in there. Kasaram Yogesh said that Ali will score 50, and Moeen probably then got knocked over.
Oh, the kiss du more. That's always a risk. 45 for 2. When are we changing, by the way?
The first change will be after 7 overs.
7 overs. Rightio. Okay, so I've got 2 more overs to walk you through. Luke Wood is going to bowl the first of those, of the remaining 2. There's the 6th of the innings. So it's a full toss, and it's slapped away between cover and extra cover all the way for 4.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
As we're looking at Big Bird in the crowd from Sesame Street.
Not Joel Garner.
Not Joel Garner. He's probably American. He might need someone to explain the rules to him, but well, you never know.
Yeah, well, mentioning great West Indies fast bowlers, happy birthday to Sir Curtly Ambrose.
Is it? By Jove. The father of the elaborate leave, wasn't he? Was Curtly?
Courtney Walsh.
Oh, it's Courtney Walsh, I beg his pardon, as that one's pushed away to mid-wicket by Vessels. He'll take a single.
Curtly was the one you
strike.
didn't ask to take his sweatbands off.
Ah, yes, indeed. That's the 50 up. 50 up for Worcestershire, so they've gone along at a very acceptable lick, knowing that probably on this track they're going to need to set a decent total, but they will be desperately disappointed that Moeen Ali is back in the hutch. 50 for 2. We've had 5.2 overs. Luke Wood is bowling his 3rd.
Yeah, interesting that he came back for Harry Gurney, who just bowled 1 over.
Yes, indeed. It took some tap
Gurney
as well.
Gurney obviously is a death
this one
bowler.
is nicely flicked off his hip. But two men converge, one of which is Alex Hales, and they will take just 2, I think. So Parnell's on 4, Vessel's on 16.
Yeah, obviously, Harry Gurney is a death bowler and will certainly bowl 2, if not 3, very later in the innings, when the likes of Ed Barnard are looking to push the score on for Worcestershire. Ed Barnard, one of the most sort of quietly effective players in T20 cricket.
Dean Moeen-Ali's having a little walk around the ground. This one's worked off his hip again by Parnell, down to deep square leg. They will take a single. So he moves on to 5. Worcestershire to 53. Only 74 miles an hour there from Luke Wood, so pace off is what's doing the trick.
Yeah,
there's Moeen-Ali gone. He's gone for a little sit down next to the TV camera. Perhaps he wants to get a different perspective.
I think he might be going
things.
for a net, but he can't move until the end of the over.
Well, he's hopeful perhaps that it won't be his batting done for the day then, I would imagine, which is a positive move, I would say, on his part. In comes Luke Wood, left arm over the wicket, pulled down to square leg. Duckett, our friend, is there, still riding that boundary, and he arrows in a one bounce throw taken by Tom Moores. So 54 now the total for the loss of those 2 wickets. One of them Moeen-Ali. Parnell on 5, Ricky Vessels on 17 off 16. Wickets, of course, tend to slow things down, and losing Moeen-Ali has slowed things down a bit. None for 28 for Luke Wood, and he's got 1 ball left of his 3rd over. He'd love to turn that into a wicket, or failing that, at least a dot ball. It's a full toss, though.
Ooh, did that just... Ooh.
I think it may have been dropped at cover. We might need to have another look at that. It seemed to be very uppish.
I'm not sure that carried to Ben Duckett.
You don't think it covered? It carried? We're going to have another look. Oh no, we're looking at the other previous wickets. One, a fantastic catch by Alex Hales, and then we're looking at a couple of Moeen-Ali 6s, but all in the same place. One very uppishly. We thought, well, maybe that was it, but then
yeah, well, apart from Moeen, whose 6s were beautifully timed, and the really bad ball that Vessel slapped before, the batsmen generally haven't quite got their timing absolutely right.
No, that's right. There was one beautiful cover drive from Ricky Vessel, but that's about it. And this brings into the attack one of Guerrilla Cricket's favourite jingles.
Oh, yes. Here he is. It's Samit.
Hey, Summit.
Yes, Dad.
In he comes. Left arm around the wicket. And slapped straight to cover by Vessels. No run.
You beat the other players to the lunch buffet.
He's in again.
Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad.
And that's pushed again to the same fielder. Same place, same result. No run.
Will the over end or the jingle first?
Well, it's a shame, isn't it? We need to find a way to get his jingle in when he's not actually bowling. That one's pulled down to our friend. It's not Duckett, actually, this time around. It's Alex Hales, isn't it? Who's down there on the deep mid-wicket boundary. They will take a single.
The course it's not working, let's can it. Your moons are approaching Titanic. I've one thing to say, and that's damn it. Summit.
In comes Patel, flicked uppishly and just over mid-wicket. And there's a deep mid-wicket down there. That is Duckett, and they will take another single. Got away with that a bit, Vessels there, I think.
Andy has slightly thrown the rotor off early by actually coming in early. So we were going to just have a little switch around of the 3 of us.
As that one is pushed away for no run.
Oh, this jingle's nicer than Ravi Bopo.
So Patel, none for 2 off 5. It's good over from him so far. This one's onto leg. And did he lay some bat on that?
Leg by, I think.
I think it could be leg bys rather than wide. Yes, indeed, given as leg bys. So none for 2 for Patel. 57 for 2, Worcestershire. Run rate just over 8.
I love that. The jingle ended 3 seconds before the over did. Perfect timing.
I think there's a lesson in that. One, we might need shorter jingles, but failing that, because that is a masterwork, we just got to figure out when and how to.
We will have a little bit of a change. Tony,
what's going to happen?
Tony, you're going to move over to tweets. Mike's going to come over here on the jingles, and I'm going to take over on ball by ball. In the meantime, little word about how you can support the show.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there's literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash out.
Tom Moores comes up to the stumps as Stephen Mullaney comes on to bowl. Stalwart of Nottinghamshire with bat and ball, and has got himself on a couple of England Lions tours. His first ball is a little off-cutter, which Ricky Vessels pushes into the offside and takes a single, bringing the left-hander Wayne Parnell onto strike. In comes Mullaney, another one which he cuts his fingers across, and Parnell drives down to long off where Alex Hales fields. The single is taken. Worcestershire 59 for 2. You're listening to Gorilla Cricket's coverage of T20's Finals Day, the first time we've ever done Finals Day in full. This is the first semi-final. Nottinghamshire won the toss and put Worcestershire in. Worcestershire are 59 for 2 off 7.2 overs. The wickets to fall. Hamish Rutherford caught by Alex Hales very well at cover off the bowling of Matt Carter for 5 off 7. Then Moeen Ali gone for bowled by Matt Carter for 21 off 9. Ricky Vessels is 19 off 22. Hasn't really found his timing, as Mike was saying earlier. This is outside off stump, and again the cutter pushed by Ricky Vessels through the infield, fielded by the man at cover, who is deep cover, who is Luke Wood. He comes through for a single. He's on 23. Wayne Parnell 7 off 7. It's a very different game now that Moeen's not at the crease.
Yes, indeed.
That's the cutter that goes the other way. What would be the leg cutter to the the right-hander. Coming into the right-hander. Parnell just pushes this from the crease down to Alex Hales at long off. There is an easy single. 4 singles of the first 4 balls of this over.
Linux Lear says there is a Falcon, I believe it is, in Germany that is used regularly to film flyovers in big cities.
Attempted knuckleball from Stephen Mullaney, a little bit too wide. Ricky Vessels, though, can't beat Sumit Patel at backward point, and there is no run. Try and give you the field when I can, but we haven't actually seen a view of the full field yet, so I'm none the wiser, alas. Mullaney in, last ball of the over, rolls this out of the back of the hand. Half appeal from Tom Moores as Ricky Vessels deflects this onto the stumps. A good, nicely timed drive from Ricky Vessels, but I think Parnell was back in his crease. They take the single. Ricky Vessels is on 21. Wayne Parnell is on 7. And after 8 overs, Worcestershire are 63 for 2.
Lots of people joining us on Crick Tracker. Vikram Kartik, Chutun Paramanik, Vasharam Rabari saying hello, Bial Sarswat saying hello, Karnasha Yasu says the match winner is going to be Worcestershire. Ram Gemulkt says out. Jaya Bratapal says hello.
Sumit Patel continues going through and round, fires this one down leg, and Ricky Vessels finally gets one away. Hit hard and flat to the fine leg boundary for 4.
2 + 2 is on man.
Sumit getting his lines a little bit wrong there. No short fine leg, backward square leg rather than a long leg, and an easy put away for Ricky Vessels. That's a much better delivery from Sumit Patel. A little bit slower, held back on off stump, and Vessels can just block this into the offside. A dot ball, that rarest and most precious of currencies in T20 cricket.
Although there's been a few actually since Moeen Ali
as
left the
Sumit
stage.
is in. Hold this one back. Ricky Vessels desperately wanted to slam this down the ground but couldn't, and has to content himself with a drive down to the deepish set mid-off. He's on 26 off 28, Ricky Vessels, starting to eat up deliveries. Is Worcestershire highest run scorer in the tournament. None of the fluency that he's shown through the tournament thus far. Sumit staying round the wicket to the left-handed Wayne Parnell, who loses his shape as he tries to slog this into the leg side, and finds only Ben Duckett on the deep mid-wicket boundary. They come through for a single. Sumit Patel getting through his overs very quickly, none for 8 off his 1.4 overs. Very valuable stuff for NOTTS. He's in again, 5th ball of his second over, the 9th of the innings. A little bit slower, Ricky Vessels again trying to make room and drive down the ground, and again finds only the deepish set mid-off. They come through for a single. Ricky Vessels on 27 off 29.
Chris the Clier says, I thought Captain Mike Yates wasn't able to get a word in with Tony and Knuckle in full flow, but looking at the rotor, I think he's just pacing himself.
Down the track and is Wayne Parnell, nicely driven and nicely fielded off his own bowling by Sumit Patel. Low to his right, good work from Sumit Patel to prevent any runs. Smartly done by Sumit Patel in that over. He's just gone for 9 off his 2 overs, 4 of which were in one shot. And Worcestershire, after a superb little burst from Moinelli, struggling a little bit, 68 for 2 after 9.
Yeah, Samit Patel doing
69
what he does
for 2,
well,
sorry.
putting some brakes on. I've just... Linux Leah says, whenever I see a picture of Ian Bell, I get the eerie feeling he's not entirely human. Yeah, I see what you mean with that picture you've sent there. Well, that's Tyrone Mills, I think he's with, I believe.
Tamal Mills.
Tyrone Mills.
Mullaney in for his for his second over is slog swept by Ricky Vessels, but all on the ground to deep square leg. They come through for the single. Vessels on 28 off 30. Wayne Parnell star to strike, 9 off 10. Facing up to Mullaney, who's been injured for most of the season, comes back in for finals day. Very valuable for Nottinghamshire, particularly with the loss of Imad Wazim. That's in the slot and launched by Wayne Parnell deep in the crease, making room for himself and launching this high over long off for 6. What will Mullaney come back with? He'll come back with a beauty, a cutter.
It's beautiful and it's mine.
You know, I'll tell you if Stephen Mullaney doesn't bowl a cutter, but that was held back outside off stump slow. Parnell threw the shot too early, through to Tom Moores. It goes behind the stumps, who's a pretty good wicket keeper. Oh, I don't know if he missed one on the inside edge. That was a very well disguised slower ball from Stephen Mullaney. Again, Parnell threw the shot too early, just beat the inside edge. Tom Moores couldn't take cleanly, but there is no run. When he's holding the pace back and holding the length back, it's really difficult for the Worcestershire batsman to get hold of Mullaney. He's in 5th ball of the over. That's Fuller. Parnell tries to go down the ground. It skews off the outside part of the bat. It's gone high. It's been caught. Very good work from Dan Christian, running back from the cover, from on the ring at cover. Much like Alex Hales, his footwork made the catch much easier than it had any right to be, and Wayne Parnell's attempts to break the shackles are unsuccessful. He's gone 15 off 14. Worcestershire 76 for 3. Perhaps feeling the pressure of Ricky Vessels' inability to score at the other end. Yeah, very nicely judged indeed by the Nottinghamshire captain, Dan Christian.
Company is flying in on all platforms. Very much not like Southwest trains. Binoy Gosh says hi on Crick Tracker. Bill Roberts has sent us a graphic on how to like a tweet twice. Linux Leah says, this reminds me of that time when Faf kept calling holding Bish, who then said to Coley, I hope you won't mind calling me Bish, to which Coley should have replied, of course not Coley, but sadly didn't. Spangly Sai says, what ho chaps, nervous as I used to help out hospital radio and commentating on Worcestershire when they played at Kidderminster, so desperately wanting the Pairs to win.
Well, that brings Worcestershire keeper Ben Cox to the middle. He won't be on strike because that ball went about a mile in the air. Ricky Vessels facing up to yet another dot ball, one that does grip a little bit and turn in to Ricky Vessels. Comes off the thick inside part of the bat onto pad, back to the bowler. There is no run. Really good work from Stephen Mullaney, having been hit for that 6. Only just 7 off that over. He's 1 for 12 off his 2 overs. Ricky Vessels 28 off 30. Ben Cox yet to face. And after 10 overs, Worcestershire 76 for 3. And really, Moeen Ali is the only Worcestershire batsman who's had any timing at all.
Yeah. Pace off, pace off, pace off. It's the mantra, isn't it, these days? And it's proving to be the case. And this will be an interesting change.
There is a change. The NOTTS captain bringing himself on to bowl, the big burly man with the slightly grizzled beard.
You sent for me, sir.
However, that's enough of your tweet reader.
This ship is filthy, Mr. Christian.
Looking to clean and indeed steady the ship. It is Dan Christian. Everyone's up in the offside. There's 4 men up in the ring. There as Dan Christian comes in. Moores has gone back. Christian, a burlier man who, while taking the pace off, is not as slow as Stephen Mullaney. This one comes in a little bit to Ben Cox, who's off the mark with a squirted single down to long leg. Ben Cox, one of the best wicket keepers in the game and effective down the order with the bat, but superb hands, and we'll see those in evidence later today. later this innings, in fact, and hopefully for Worcestershire later today.
Have we got time to give you a tweet?
I think you probably do. One more.
Well, I'll give you the question first, and then I can answer it in between that. Well, actually, I'll wait until after this ball.
Christian comes in, second ball of the over, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Ricky Vessels. That's a short ball, which Vessels pulls, but again straight to the fielder down there on the square leg boundary. Joe Clark it is down there, who's back into the Nottinghamshire side, replacing Jake Libby. He'll be batting at 3
the question
for Notts.
The question was from 140 BPM, who wants to know, other than Moeen Ali, are there any other England players in this match? Yes, there
Alex Hales.
are. Well, I was about to say, you've got Alex Hales.
Christian in, wide outside off stump, that's an under edge and a catch. Really good stuff from Tom Moores and really good stuff from Dan Christian. Took all the pace off it. Cox trying to drive through the covers, an under edge, I think, and that's really nicely taken by Tom Moores. Cox just gone for 1. Worcestershire 78 for 4. Yeah, the thin under edge. Tom Moores recognised that the chance was coming his way, stayed low and took the catch. Excellent keeping. Daniel Christian, the Nottinghamshire captain, strikes in his first over. Ben Cox gone for 1 off 2. And Notts will be very happy with the way they've pulled this back after Moeen's burst earlier.
Umpire Bell's tip. Did you give that, Mike, or did I not hear it? He said provisions are in for his side and risky and ready for a full day at the great game. My tip is Derbyshire to surprise everybody.
They are the surprise package. Their first time at finals day. Excellent work at the top of the order from Billy Godwin and Wayne Madsen through the season, and Ravi Rampal as the leading wicket taker in the tournament. Of course, Worcestershire made their finals day debut last time and won the damn thing.
They did, and Parnell played in that game, I think, as well, and Moeen Ali was instrumental in that.
And Ben Cox towards the end of the final.
Indeed.
That brings the grandson of the great Basil, Brett D'Oliveira, to the middle, faces up to an in-swinging Yorker first ball from Dan Christian. Brett D'Oliveira blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. Brett D'Oliveira back from injury, and very useful all-round performer for Worcestershire.
Spangley Sai says, from a Worcestershire perspective, #doomed. It's a little bit early doors to be saying that. They've certainly been slowed down by wickets, which is the greatest truism of T20 cricket, isn't it?
It's pretty much the only way to
slow run rates.
A short ball and a sort of crouching flap pull from Brett D'Oliveira gets him off the mark. Joe Clark again coming in from the square leg boundary to field. D'Oliveira comes through for a single. Ricky Vessels has got to get on with things or get out of there, I think, for Worcestershire. Any more of this nudging around, and he's just wasting time.
Getting to the stage where we're thinking, what is a reasonable total now?
Well, quite. I mean, we've been thinking that since the start of the innings, and the answer is no one really knows. Last ball of Dan Christian's first over is a slower ball, which Ricky Vessels turns into the leg side. A little bit of urgency in the running. They want to, but they're not going to get to as Luke Wood comes in off the mid-wicket boundary to keep them to a single. Ricky Vessels will keep the strike, 30 off 33. Brett D'Oliveira 1 off 2. Worcestershire after 11, 80 for 4.
Based on the power play and before Moeen Ali's dismissal, I would have said upwards of 180 and pushing 200. But as Spangley Sai is rather suggesting, those wickets might have kiboshed that. 170 would be a decent score. At least that's where I'd be placing my bet or thinking, as it were. Just to go back to that question that was asked earlier, other England players involved as well as Alex Hales, you've obviously got Ben Duckett, Samit Patel and Harry Gurney, all of whom have at various times represented England and may indeed do again.
And Hamish Rutherford of New Zealand. Patel in for his third over after 2 very effective ones. Takes the pace right off this, and Ricky Vessels is about a week early on this. Tries to slug sweep, and off the bottom part of the bat, it dribbles out into the leg side. Tom Moores comes round from behind the stumps to field. They take a single, bring Brett D'Oliveira back onto strike.
Lennox Lear, quick as a flash, said, did you mean former England players when you mentioned Hales? He seems to have burned all bridges as well as a few spliffs for good measure.
Don't be surprised if Alex Hales is in England's World T20 squad next year.
I've got a feeling that they're trying to leave the door open for him, aren't they, if he shows his...
In comes Samit Patel, tosses this up, and Brett D'Oliveira is almost yorked by this, whips it nicely into the leg side, but Ben Duckett at short mid-wicket fields, and there is no run. Yeah, Dan Christian and Hamish Rutherford have both played international cricket too. Down the crack comes D'Oliveira, and that's very nicely played, working the wrist there to get it straight of Duckett at short mid-wicket. But Mullaney comes round from long onto field, and D'Oliveira has managed to scramble 3 off a very good delivery. Nicely done by Brett D'Oliveira.
Kazaram Yogesh is with us on YouTube and says all the great players in the world all score 50. Well, that's not going to happen, I'm afraid.
Held back and a little bit shorter from Sumit Patel. Ricky Vessels tries to make room for himself and cut. Finds the man on the deep point boundary, comes through for 2. At least there's some urgency in the running now, but Ricky Vessels has only hit, I think he's hit 2 boundaries in this innings so far, 3 boundaries, and one of those was an edge. As Patel is in. 5th ball of the over, wild swipe from Ricky Vessels, and missed everything, I think. Went in between bat and pad and dribbles down the leg side for a bye. Has that been given as a bye, or was there a little bit of inside edge on that? Let's have a look. No, there was inside edge. Inside edge onto his foot. That might have actually bowled him if he'd missed that. But he didn't. Takes the single. Brett D'Oliveira back onto strike. Short ball. D'Oliveira waits for this and pulls it out. But Ben Duckett has moved back to the deep mid-wicket boundary. Good captaincy from Dan Christian, having his fielders where the ball is most likely to go. Much more expensive over from Sumit Patel. I say that, only 8 off it. And Worcestershire, after 12 overs, 88 for 4 having been put into bat.
Umpire Bell says, in my honest opinion, or no, I didn't say honest, but I assume he is honest as the day is long. In my opinion, 170 to 180 would be a decent score on this track. Yeah, we were saying about the same thing there, Umpire Bell. Brian001 says, hello from Northampton. I've been banished to the car park of the retail shopping park. Busy day with the cricket, Rugby World Cup and Austrian Rugby League. Brian001.
Austrian or Australian?
Australian. Well, could be. Well, Rugby League as opposed to Rugby Union. But if Brian001 is a Northampton fan, get in touch with me separately.
Mullaney is in... bowling the off-cutter down the leg side. Brett D'Oliveira works this off his pads down to I think that's Alex Hales coming in off the deep square leg boundary. He's on 6 off 6. Has looked a lot more urgent and busy than Ricky Vessels has managed to be at the crease for his rather scratchy 34 off 36.
Yeah, yep. Ricky is starting to look almost every bit as ugly as his father did when he was batting.
Mullaney in, Moores up to the stumps. Reverse sweep from Ricky Vessels, but even that bit of invention can't get him a run or a boundary. That goes to backward point, and there is no run.
And I don't mean that unkindly, but this is starting to look very painful from Ricky.
Slow ball, he's bowled him. Ricky Vessels is finally put out of his misery. Stephen Mullaney bowled the slower ball. Really effective, Stephen Mullaney, in this little spell, showing how much he's been missed by Worcestershire, by Nottinghamshire. And Ricky Vessels' rather painful stay at the crease is finally ended. A slog sweep came off the pad, back onto leg stump, knocked leg stump out of the ground. Stephen Mullaney has his second. Ricky Vessels gone for 34 of 38, and that's a bit of a mercy killing. Worcestershire 89 for 5.
A lot of folks with us on our Facebook page. Murad Farhan, hi to you. And let me just quickly scroll down. Joy Hassan, hello to you. Brian Cusack, hello from Sunshine in Northampton. Another Northampton man. Unless you're the same one.
I think it is the same man.
Well, if you are, I'm on the lookout for Northants fans for a Gorilla Share episode where I'd like to talk about Northants. So if you are keen, give me a shout.
Northants have some pedigree in this tournament themselves. That brings Ross Whiteley to the middle at number 7. Mullaney in another very slower ball, which Whiteley just didn't pick up until the last second. Blocks back to the bowler. There is no Mullaney and Sumit Patel are laughing at how effective these slower balls have been.
Yep, it's so often the way.
Penultimate ball of the over from Stephen Mullaney. Full delivery and dug out by Whiteley, formerly of Northants, of that Northants team that won the T20 Blast, I think 2016. Drives down to deepish mid-off. They come through for a single. We will have a change in the first new voice that we're going to hear today. Tony's going to make way. I'm going to move to jingles. Mike's going to move back to tweets. And Andy Ward is going to come on to ball by ball at the end of the next over, in fact. Short ball, slower ball, and Brett D'Oliveira has to content himself with a paddle around the corner to short fine leg. They come through for the single. D'Oliveira on 7, Whiteley on 1, Worcestershire 91 for 5 after 13 overs. In fact, no, we will have that change now. Apologies. We'll... if you just play a little jingle there, Mike, we'll let you know about how you can help this show keep going.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money to Patreon. That's what I want. .com/Gorilla Cricket. We need money. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Gorilla Comment.
Here comes Carter, and that's bowled him. So I'm straight in the hot seat. D'Oliveira bowled by the Carter, the unstoppable sex machine. He came down the track, yorked himself really, and Worcester now in a lot of bother at 91 for 6. Gone indeed, and those 2 wickets, albeit Wessels was having a bit of a nightmare, and the quicker he tried to go, the slower he went. Now, with 91 for 6, 2 batsmen on naught, Worcestershire looking up against it.
Yeah, it's been really smartly done by Notts, with the slower ball bowlers of, well, Sumit Patel bowling very economically at one end, and then the slower ball seamers of Dan Christian, and particularly Stephen Mullaney, who I think has been excellent today, and then Matt Carter showing his skills.
Looks a good enough track to me, and I would say throughout this innings, although obviously now the wickets are a major problem, but Worcestershire haven't hit enough boundaries. But now the 6 down, it is Ed Barnard, who's been held back to 8, but they can't hold him back anymore. He's going to face up to Carter, right arm around, and tips into the leg side. Then, surely they get a single there. Looked like they weren't going to, but they must. Everyone converges on it.
Yeah, Ed Barnard batting above Daryl Mitchell, who's weirdly in the side as a specialist batsman, batting at 8 or 9.
Well, isn't he their kind of... Well, I guess if he was the repairman, he would have come in earlier.
Well, one would think, yeah, this would be the ideal situation for Daryl Mitchell, who's a very classy player, has been talked about as an England Test opener in the past.
Well, you don't really make your plans for being 90 for 6, so I guess it's all gone out of the window a bit for Worcestershire. On paper, the 2 strongest teams of the 4 playing each other. Carter, it's full and dabbed into the leg side by Whiteley to pick up another single, with Derbyshire and Essex to come this afternoon.
Yeah, Essex had a slightly circuitous route to the finals, but...
There's always someone comes in through the back door.
Yeah, that's what they do.
How often do they win it?
Well, quite, yeah.
Carter, 3 for 20. He's had a great afternoon, and that's another dot ball, as Barnard can only play it back to the bowler.
Yeah, and then Tendra Carter and Bapara combining to great effect in the quarter-final.
And the last couple of must-win games before that. Little dab from Barnard. They're going to take a quick single down to short third man, but I don't think Nottinghamshire are too bothered about singles at the moment. They can let Worcester tap their way through to 135, and I think Hales and Nash and Clark and Duckett will be licking their lips.
Yeah, and Sumit Patel, who hasn't really been needed in the last few games.
Certainly wasn't needed in the quarter-final. Sorry about that, Tony, to bring that up. Nottinghamshire's thrashing of Middlesex as that one's speared onto the boot of Whiteley. It drops down into nowhere, but they can't get a run. That's the end of the over. Carter 3 for 21, and Worcestershire only 6 overs left. They're 94 for 6.
Mike?
Hello to Tony Bishop, who's joined us on Crick Tracker. Hello to Binoy Ghosh, Vicky Badshaw, Mohammed Ahedul Islam, and Ronak Vaghela. Hello to you all.
I hope you'll be with us throughout the day.
Yeah, going to be a long day, but going to be a good day. I love finals day. I think it's one of the best things about the English domestic season. It's unique around the world.
I was going to say no one else does it like this. I think it's good for the fans. I'm not sure the players are 100% in favour of it.
Yeah, I mean it's an odd day, particularly. What do you if you're in the first semi? Do you go back to the hotel between now and the final?
I was going to mention this. I actually we had an ex-pro at our club, and he was talking about this. He says it's actually very difficult when you win the first game. You're buzzing, you're really on a high. You want to rest, but you don't know whether to stay at the ground or go back to the hotel, and you can't really sleep if you do. Anyway, Gurney's back. It's a slower ball. And Barnard can only tip it into his pad for no run.
Yeah, let's give a jingle for NOTTS' Death Over Specialist.
Here he comes again, lollops into the wicket, left arm around, it's a little bit quicker, and Barnard's played it down to third man. They're going to look for 2. They need every run. I think they just got 1, well fielded. Now, you said something earlier on, Knackle, about Gurney not being very popular on the county circuit. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, not so much among the players, but among certain sections of social media, because Harry Gurney is a T20 and short format and 100 fundamentalist.
Because there's no fundamentalists on the other side.
Well, quite, yeah. It's every bit as annoying as the people who think that multi-day cricket is the only form of cricket. There is no one form of cricket, and I think Harry Gurney's probably not actually that bothered about being unpopular because of that.
Can I say slower ball? It's just slow. Barnard taps it out to cover for a single.
Harry Gurney, one of the most experienced players on any of the teams that we're seeing today. T20 leagues all over the world, and did very well for KKR when he was brought into the IPL earlier this year.
Yes, he did. Did they win that in the end? So my goldfish memory.
No, they did not.
Did they even make the playoffs? I'm not sure. Pushed out towards the sweeper by Barnard to pick up another single. Both Gurney and Mullaney bowling in that twilight zone around 70 miles an hour that you very rarely see. It's between spin and even medium pace. We might see a bit more of that from Ravi Bopara later this afternoon.
Yeah, and Ravi Rampal, who can be a little bit quicker, but has all of the skill of the experience that he's built up over the years, the leading wicket taker in the tournament for Derbyshire.
Gurney again, left arm around to the left-hander, if that makes any sense. There's a bit of hesitation, and I think he would have been... Oh, I think he is gone. I think there's a direct hit there from Clark. I think he's out. There was a bit of hesitation on the running, and no collapse is complete without a calamitous run out, and Ed Barnard is indeed making his way back to the hutch.
Yeah, massive wicket with Ed Barnard's destructive capabilities. Really good throw from Joe Clark. One stump to aim at, he's gone by a mile.
There must be a run out here. Oh, how tragic. How tragic, how tragic, how tragic.
And this first semi-final in danger of becoming a bit of a non-event. Worcestershire 97 for 7, last year's winners. And unfortunately, this can happen. The quarterfinals were 2 weeks ago. You're looking forward to finals day, and it's all gone wrong in about an hour.
Yeah, and then it's you're talking about what happens if you win the first semi-final. It's a long day if you lose the first semi-final.
Don't you just go home?
Well, one would assume so. What do you do? But do the fans go home?
No, the fans wouldn't go home. I mean, the fans would still hopefully enjoy the rest of the day. I mean, that's the beauty of finals day. It's Edgbaston again.
It is.
Yep. Well, not too far for them to go then. It's not it's not their home, but it's not too far.
No, indeed. And finding himself in a nearly impossible situation is Daryl Mitchell at number 9. We don't have a jingle.
Of course, can't jingle everybody. No, even our jinglers can't produce one for every single county player in England, as prodigious as their work rate is. Gurney's in again. So slow. Bounces 2 yards before the wicket-keeper, but it is a dot ball. That's the end of the over. It's another over without a boundary. It's another over with a wicket, and Worcestershire are 97 for 7.
Hello to Dawood Khan Ningrahari and to Raji Rocky. And a question we had earlier from Linux Lear, which I think we missed. What are your thoughts on Denley getting a white ball contract after being dropped from the ODI squad and being called up for tests? Are the ECB just Pakistan in cheap suits?
I think the white ball contract had been very much constructed with an eye on the T20 World Cup, where Joe Denley has been a feature of England's T20 squads. Also might explain the omission of Liam Plunkett.
I would think so. Carter is in, and that's played up to long off. It's going to be a comfortable single. Denley, of course, a bit more of a bowling option in T20, so that always helps.
Yeah, I think bowled himself out of the World Cup, the 50-over World Cup, with that one spell in the one ODI he bowled against Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable that the focus is going to be on T20. You've got 4 years till the next ODI World Cup. You've got a T20. Well, you have to have a T20 World Cup in the year 2020. How could you not?
Well, I mean, there's 2 between now and the next 50 over World Cup, 2020 and 2021.
Carter round the wicket. Seems a lot of people going round the wicket today. Clipped out to square leg by Mitchell. And Samit Patel is in, flat throw, just a single. Another ball ticks away, 99 for 7.
I'm trying to remember when the last boundary was. It's been a very long time.
It has been a while, and there haven't been very many in this innings since 3 sixes from Moeen Ali. Not a lot else. Carter round the wicket, that's short, and it's cut away again by Whiteley. He has put this one in the gap. Duckett is round, they're going to take a comfortable 2.
Yeah, the last boundary was Wayne Parnell's 6 off Stephen Mullaney and the second ball of the 10th over.
And that was about 5 batsmen ago.
Yeah, that was the one ball that Mullaney bowled at anything like full pace. And the only one that was full.
Carter again, it's really loopy spin round the wicket. Out to Christian, they should get a single, and they do.
Yeah, Matt Carter's been very good today. He's varied his pace very well. He got Rutherford with a slower ball, got Moeen with a quicker ball, and then D'Oliveira with a slightly quicker one too.
That one's tossed up, that one's in the air from Whiteley. Has he got enough? I think he has. A much needed 6 over long on.
First one in a very, very long time, as we've just been saying.
2, 4, 6.
At least one thing to give Worcestershire some comfort is they have 2 reasonably accomplished batsmen at the crease for an 8 and 9.
Yeah, it drops off a bit after this with Charlie Morris and Pat Brown.
Well, sure, but these 2 batsmen both capable of scoring some runs. That's one stabbed out to Dan Christian at cover. Pick up another single. Their welcome addition of a 6 in that over made it a bit of a better one. They're 108 for 7, but they only have 4 overs left. Looking for about 145 here, maybe.
Yeah, try and keep themselves in the game and then unleash their. It's a pretty good bowling attack. Pat Brown's been one of the best bowlers in the Blast for the last couple of years. Charlie Morris is very experienced, and of course Moeen himself.
Yeah, Pat Brown took forfeit in the semi-final last year, played a key role. He's going to have to do, someone's going to have to do something similar today. They'll have to get Alex Hales and Chris Nash out first. The Middlesex couldn't manage it, lost by 10 wickets in the quarter-final.
Yeah, it was Chris Nash's first game, having replaced Joe Clark.
That's right. Got all 3 of those in today. Clark is back. Mullaney is going to complete. He's on 2 for 15. Excellent figures for him. It's another slow ball. Again, I'm not going to call it slower. And Whiteley can only dab it back towards the bowler, and there's no run. And 62 miles an hour. You see spinners bowling.
Well, quite, yeah. I think Matt Carter's quicker ball was probably quicker.
Mullaney's in again. It takes him long enough just to get to the wicket. That's another big hit from Whiteley. It's up in the air. I can't see it. Well, it doesn't matter because it's into the direction of the crowd, and it's 6 more. Power Rangers in the crowd there. It's a bit hot.
I believe in miracles. Since you came to bat, you 60 thing, you 60 thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you 60 thing.
Now, you're saying Stephen Mullaney had some Lions games. I'm thinking he must be a bit more to him than his bowling. That's another one bounce for, and Ross Whiteley, trying to rescue this innings, just clubbed that one up to long on, and a 1 bounce for, surprisingly wide, the one on field, and couldn't get there.
Stephen Mullaney was picked for the Lions in the 4-day stuff, mostly really? as a middle order batsman.
I was going to say, it must be, no disrespect, but I wouldn't think this bowling on its own would get you in the England Lions. That one's up in the air, though, could be a problem. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it could be a problem for the crowd. Sails over long off's head. 3 boundaries in a row from Ross Whiteley. Man, do they need that.
Where has this been for the last 6 overs?
Well, it's been nowhere. And Stephen Mullaney, who was 2 for 15 off 3, is now looking like a bit of a pie thrower. Which is amazing what a bit of aggressive batting can do.
Yeah, we only saw the intent in Ricky Vessels' innings until the right at the very end, when it was all getting a little bit desperate. That innings just completely put the brakes on.
Yeah, so the harder you try, the worse it gets sometimes. He's gone up again. It's not going to be 6. Is long on in the game. Just 1 bounce to him, Dan Christian, and they'll pick up a single.
I think he might have choked that into the ground to begin with.
Well, in either way, 17 off the over with 1 ball to go, which could help Worcester up their sights a bit. They might get the right side of 150. Certainly if Whiteley stays in, who's raced on to 30 off 16, top scorer in the innings. Well, he might not have caught Vessels just yet, but certainly a more effective innings. Mitchell decides he'll just push that one back and let Whiteley get on with it. End of the over. It is 125 for 7 with 3 overs to go.
Yeah, Ricky Vessels scored 34. One thing you will see if you're used to watching other T20 competitions, the T20 Blast tends to rattle along a hell of a lot faster than the IPL does.
Well, what doesn't?
Although, as will tend to happen, if the game does get tight, you probably will see the overs start to take a little bit longer. But with 3 games to fit in, they're very, very strict on over rates, and you actually get in-game over rate run penalties.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to bowl these 20 in an hour and 15, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Just shows you what can be done if you set the boundaries accordingly. A pensive Worcestershire bench. Oh dear. A pensive Worcestershire bench. 3 overs to go. I'm not going to comment on that.
No, the Eric Holly stand and the rest of Edgbaston enjoying themselves.
Fair enough. It's a day out, and it's all in fun. That one's dropped out towards deep point. Took the pace off. Duckett's the fielder, but they'll only get 1. So that does get Whiteley off strike. Probably a win for Harry Gurney. 126 for 7. Bit of a recovery, thanks to Ross Whiteley. But changes in the field, understandably, as Whiteley's been going for the fence, and Mitchell only faced 3 balls for his 1. Looks like Mitchell left-handed or right-handed?
Darren Mitchell's a right-hander.
Looks like long off's going back. Cover's going to be short.
So Harry Gurney, I think, is coming round the wicket.
No, he's back over.
Oh, sorry, he's left arm over, of course.
Play down towards point. There'll be a quick run, but unfortunately Wood has misfielded it.
Ooh.
He might have sent him back there. I'll tell you what, they probably stopped and then decided there was a run. The old adage of never run on a misfield almost came true there. Because he misfielded it, went behind him. Then I think the players probably decided to run. But even so, Wood was back on it quickly. But the keeper couldn't gather the throw. In fact, the keeper wasn't there. Which I think he probably had time enough to get there. Gurney's in again. Oh no, he's not. He's given that one a miss, and he'll try to bowl this one again.
It wasn't actually it wasn't a particularly good throw from Luke Wood, even though he had even with only 1 stump to aim at. I think had he hit, Whiteley would have been gone by a long way.
Sure, but there's only 16 balls left in this innings. Having said that, 7 wickets down, and as you say, not a lot to come, so there is some incentive to preserve a wicket. That one's gone out to deep point and should be a regulation single. It's 128 for 7. Worcestershire, the defending champions, the only team here who were at last year's finals day.
Yeah, NOTTS here the year before that. Essex have been, this is their 5th finals day, they've never even made the final, and Derbyshire, like Worcestershire were last year, finals day debutantes.
Yes, indeed. And that one played out towards point again. Again, Wood slightly ran past it, but got his hand on it. Gurney's got his hands out. I'm not sure if the wicketkeeper's really up to the stumps as quickly as he could be here at times. Yeah, Derbyshire became the last county to make finals day. Now everybody.
Oh, last new county. Oh, yes. Every one of the 18 counties has made finals day.
Yes, Derbyshire were the only one who hadn't made it before this year.
Very good.
Under the
only took 17 years.
17 years for 18 counties. Only under the coaching of Dominic Cork, and a bit of a white ball focus. A bit like that's a full toss. It really missed. Oh no! I thought that hit something. I thought that hit pad, but the umpire's given it wide, and that might be a bit fortunate for Whiteley. Will feel he should have hit it for 4.
I mean, you'd think. I mean, thigh high full toss on leg stump. That should have gone into the stands.
I'd like to have another look at that because it looked to me as though that flicked something. Anyway, Gurney's around the wicket again to the left-hander. It's another slow ball. It's played out towards cover. Dan Christian running backwards towards the boundary, but does reel it in for a single. 1 to go in the 18th over. Gurney completing his 3rd, so I'm sure he is going to bowl the last over.
Yep, just as we're kind of saying, just 1 in the power play and then 3 in a row at the death. This is where Harry Gurney comes into his own.
All those slower and slowest balls. Gurney's in again. It's chipped up, but there's no one there because it's just going to bounce up to long off for another single. That's the end of the over. 132 for 7. Anything on the social media?
Hello to Naveed and Spangly Sai, who says, on the plus side, we're going to get one more game with Samet. Hello to Braviner, who also joins us and saying, you have to say Samet, damn it.
Damn it, Samet, yes.
Umpire Bell has joined us in wishing the great Sir Curtly Ambrose happy birthday.
132 for 7, 2 overs to go. Bit of a recovery from Worcestershire, thanks largely to Ross Whiteley, who's on 33 off 19.
It's been a two-man show for Worcestershire, Moeen at the top and Whiteley at the bottom. Luke Wood is coming back into the attack, one of the great unjingled.
Well, perhaps he'll do something today to earn himself that mighty honour.
It was a bit of a scramble putting the jingles together, I have to say. We've got some of them.
Got some blasts from the past. Wood is another left-arm bowler. Going to bowl left arm over, steps across Mitchell, and he gets a bottom edge down to short fine leg for a comfortable single.
Yeah, and we picked up a few more who we've who the guys managed to get some jingles together, and some good ones in here as well. But this was all a rather last-minute operation from us here at Guerrilla Cricket.
Could have got the countdown music for Whiteley.
Yeah, I do read his name on a scorecard and think, Richard Whiteley, isn't he dead?
Oh, he is, isn't he? Yeah.
The mayor of Wet Wang.
And Samet has just endeared himself to the holly stand by slapping an inflatable beach ball back in there.
Always goes well. I like Geoffrey Archer.
Geoffrey Archer.
So fucking both of them. He's in my head. They run for a quick 2 because that didn't quite get up to long on, and Whiteley gets back on strike. Yes, thank goodness Ian Botham is not polluting the airwaves anymore. When people corrected his pronunciation of Joffre, he actually threatened to give them a dead leg instead of saying, yes, actually, you're right.
It's not even a mispronunciation, he's just used another completely different name.
Wood's going to come in. Length ball and an under edge, I think, from Whiteley. It's gone through to the keeper. Good bit of work by him there, and there's no run.
Yeah, I think... you're talking about him not getting up to the stumps, but I think Tom Moores has kept well, and he's been good with the bat through the tournament, scoring at a good rate, over 140 runs per 100 balls. I thought the catch off the under edge for Brett D'Oliveira as wicket was very good.
Yes, he was simultaneously up appealing while his hands were still down low, if that makes any sense. Whiteley looking for some extra runs here. He hasn't managed them yet this over. That's a full toss on leg stump. But as one of my ex-teammates would say, it's really a high Yorker because he couldn't get under it, and he just dropped it down to cow corner for a single. 136 for 7. 10 balls to go, so maybe they'll get 150, but looks under par to me.
It does, particularly with the power at the top of the Nottinghamshire order, and kind of all the way through when you go down to Sumit Patel at number 5.
Christian at 6.
Yes.
Yep. No success for Wood so far today, and that one's hit Mitchell on the body in the unmentionables really, but not with enough pace to discomfort him.
No, but I think Luke Wood showed the way, taking the pace off. Has barely been a ball at full pace by any of the NOTTS seamers today.
No, it'd be interesting to see if Pat Brown does the same thing or actually winds up some pace. Wood's only gone for 4 so far this over. Whiteley couldn't get hold of him, and Mitchell's back on strike. So he might rescue his figures a bit if he gets this last ball out of the way. Up he comes. It's clubbed into the leg side. They should get 1. They might get 2. Nope. It's the end of the over. Chris Wood, 4 overs, none for 33. I've just realised Luke Wood bears a bit of a resemblance to Luke and Matt Goss.
He does a little bit. Chris Wood, of course, playing up front for Burnley.
Yep, busy day for him. He's got a shoot up there this afternoon.
Mike?
Lennox Lee has asked, who wouldn't focus on white ball cricket if they were as bad as Derbyshire at red ball cricket?
Well, there is that. Nottinghamshire also, I saw, have 0 wins in the Championship this year.
They've got a really good spot. They've been awful in the County Championship this season. You look at their attack that they started the season with Stuart Broad and James Pattinson.
Yeah, but how many games are they going to play?
Well, sure, but even so.
Gurney comes in for the final over. It's a good bit of timing by Mitchell. It's out towards deep point. They'll probably settle for the single to get Whiteley on strike. Indeed they do. Well, for counties like Derbyshire and Northants, It's probably an easier route to success to go for the shorter game. Certainly Northants went down the Colpack route.
Yeah, and some homegrown players of their own. Ben Duckett was in that Nottinghamshire, that Northants team that won the finals day. Alex Wakely, of course, and Ross Whiteley. But yes, Kleinveld and Richard Levy were very, very effective for Northants.
Whiteley again, I thought he had put something on that. Maybe my eyes are going, but he's just missed it down the leg side.
I thought we got something on that as well. I think there was a slight deviation as it passed.
It looked it, but
that.
Why?
Another good take from Tom Moores.
But it was still, a leg side full toss, a foot outside leg stump, so it wasn't great bowling from Gurney.
No, that's the second wide I think he's bowled today. He started his spell with a bad leg side wide.
That one's more on target, and in fact Whiteley came down the track, missed it, and it snaked past leg stump, but a valuable dot ball. 4 balls to go, 139 for 7, and Whiteley's going to have to put a couple in the stands to get that 150. But something in the 140s at least gives you a chance, but Nottinghamshire's strong favourites.
It'll still need something special from Worcestershire.
Yes, someone's got to get through that top order and really try to get Nottinghamshire behind the game with early wickets, but it won't be easy. Gurney left arm round, and that must be a wide. 2 bounces to the keeper, wide outside off stump, and it is indeed. Even Gurney down to 65 miles an hour, but doesn't matter if it's outside the tram line.
Was that a knuckleball that slipped out?
Maybe. He might just try and surprise him with a regulation pace top of off ball. Might be the last thing he's expecting, but it was another knuckleball. It's high in the air, out into the leg side. I have no idea where it is, but it's fallen safely into the hands of Luke Wood, who falls over backwards but still takes the catch. And Whiteley has gone for 36, an innings that has rescued Worcester somewhat, but he's perished in the last over. Just a little bit early on that one, which was again another knuckleball from Gurney, and he was looking over mid-wicket. He ended up clothing it down to deep backward square. With 140 for 8, and of course that's also another dot. 3 balls to go.
Yeah, 34 of 26 for Ross Whiteley, doing his best, coming in a very difficult situation. 1, 4 and 3 big sixes. Nicely taken by Luke Wood, looking into the sun off that top-edged hook. 3 balls left. I think if Worcester should get 150, they'll think they've done well from the position they were in.
Well, it'll need some hitting with Mitchell, who hasn't really got going, and a new batsman, number 10. Certainly NOTTS will looking to cut these last 3 balls down to just 3 or 4 runs, but Harry Gurney's already bowled 2 wides. He will hope that it's just 3 balls.
It is the extremely young Pat Brown who's to the middle. Presumably they will have crossed while that ball was in the air.
You'd have thought so, particularly to get the well, I wouldn't say set, but the batsman, the existing batsman on strike. Gurney's back over the wicket. He's hit that one long. Ooh. I think that's long enough. It is 5 yards over. Welcome 6. Maybe they'll get that 150 after all. 146 with 2 balls to go.
That's as close to in the slot as Harry Gurney's bowled all day.
And a rather odd stat comes up there. Worcestershire have hit 8 sixes and only 4 fours.
Yeah, while the pitch looks a good one, the pace off has made it difficult to hit through the field.
Skewed up into the offside, it's not going to go the distance, and it's been caught again by Dan Christian, so Mitchell perishes off the second last ball. It's 146 for 9. 6s, wides, wickets, it's all happening in this last over, as indeed it should. Just scooped that one up, and in fact Dan Christian ran back from his position inside the circle to take a comfortable catch.
We've seen a bit of that today. We saw that with Alex Hales' catch earlier. Dan Christian himself took a catch running back from the edge of the circle. Good work from Christian and from Hales, the 2 very experienced players. You can make a difficult catch much easier by moving, but if you get your footwork right.
You can make an easy one more difficult as well. So 10 and 11 at the crease, no batting averages to protect. Keep running until you're out.
Moggs tweeted in asking, did he not send a crappy Wood jingle in?
You may have done. I may have missed it.
Well, we'll maybe pick that up when Luke Wood comes into bat.
If.
Is he a tail ender?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Excuse my lack of knowledge sometimes. Gurney is in, through to the wicketkeeper. They are going to run. Oh, and he misses the stumps. Get back. That's a spare. It's not a strike. Get back down to the 10-pin bowling lane. And they get through for a bye, and Worcester will have to settle for 147 off their 20 overs. More than they looked like getting at one point.
Yeah, it's a score of sorts. And given that they were 97 for 7 after 14.5 overs, Ross Whiteley has given them a half a chance.
Yeah, 50 off the last 5 with that position. From that position is very well done. But unfortunately, a lot of the damage was done in that middle order, didn't get going at all. And I think NOTTS will certainly be the happier of the two teams walking off. Although, Worcestershire have some of that dreaded momentum.
And the Worcester bowlers will have learned from what NOTTS did so well there in strangling the batsman.
Yeah, Pat Brown's got some slower balls of his own, although can crank it up a bit. Charlie Morris is a very experienced and very clever bowler. They've got Ed Barnard, who's got those variations, as does Brett D'Oliveira. Wayne Parnell's been around the circuit for a very, very long time. And then, of course, you've got Moeen, who was so good in the quarter-final with bat and also with ball.
So a bit of bits and pieces innings from Worcestershire. The NOTTS bowling 3 wickets for Carter, 2 for Gurney, 2 for Mullaney and 1 for Christian. Well, we haven't got long, so shall we have a quick break?
Yeah, we'll have a little bit of a break, and we'll give you a little bit of a talk with someone who has been at Finals Day. If we can get this up just very quickly. We have spoken in the past to Stephen Crook, who's a great friend of the show. We talked to him a little bit some time ago about when he'd played for Northants in a game against Pakistan, and yeah, here he is, friend of the show and a former hero of Northamptonshire, Stephen Crook.
It's all going pretty well. You wintered well?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, very good. Yeah, got a bit going on, and yeah, it's been good. Little orders keep me pretty busy as well, mate.
Oh,
so,
right, yeah, I suppose that's
really good.
Okay.
Hey, congratulations on getting the contract, mate. That's brilliant news.
It's fantastic, isn't it? We're very excited. Yeah, we're as I say, we're up here getting arranged, everything arranged, and it's we're just hoping the weather's going to stay good. The clouds are a bit threatening, but we'll see how it goes. It looks great. It looks a picture. I don't know if you've ever played. Have you ever played up here?
No, I haven't actually. I'd love to, obviously, but no.
It's an absolute.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
it looks really good, though.
It really is. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about really is because you've just faced Pakistan. I really want to talk about your opinions of them and what you felt and the sort of promise of various players. But I'm just going to start off. I'll just do a little introduction, and then I'll start off with ask you to say a few words about either getting this test match and whatever, and maybe a couple of guys that you play with. Did you play with Balbirnie at Middlesex?
I did, only briefly though.
But who else did you play with? You played with?
I've played Niall at Northants for a bit. I actually lived with him for a little bit.
Oh right, okay. Oh, you can give us a bit of an insight into his character there. I talked to his sister last week as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. She seemed very nice as well. So
yeah.
All right. So I'll just ask you a couple of questions about Ireland, and then I'll go into Pakistan, really, if that's okay with you.
Of course.
So I'll just do an intro. Go ahead.
By the way, if I fuck it up, you can edit it, can't you?
We'll do our best. Yeah. Well, I might fuck it up as well. So you never know.
Is this?
The bear says it doesn't matter in his usual.
Is this a serious interview? Or
yeah, pretty well. I mean, if you've got any sort of something humorous to say about anything, that's fine. It's fine. But it's generally serious. But we sort of keep it to about 15 minutes if we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'd like to welcome onto Guerrilla Cricket Stephen Crook, one of our favourite Australians, the county cricketer with Northants, and before that, of course, Middlesex and Lancashire. Now, hi, Crookie. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah.
Really, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Now, of course, it's a historic day here in Malahide. Well, it will be as the test gets underway. What are your feelings, or what are the feelings in county cricket about Ireland getting test status? Is there a sort of a real support amongst the professionals? Because you will have played with quite a few of these guys.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant for the game, just generally. Obviously, you're right. I've played with and against quite a lot of the team, but it's very exciting. It's great that I guess the ICC have backed Ireland to play Test cricket. They've been obviously been performing well for quite a long time now, and in these big white ball tournaments. So it's great to see them playing, and hopefully they can go out this week and do themselves justice. Bit of a tough opposition, but nothing like throwing them in the deep end, I guess.
Absolutely. You're only going to get better if you play against better players, aren't you? I think. Now let's talk about this Pakistan team. There's a certain amount of inexperience in it, but you got a close-up view of them last week when you played in the second warm-up match at Northamptonshire. Who in particular took your eye, would you say? Certainly on the batting front. We've just seen that the team has been announced for the test. It's the same team that you played against. So who in particular took your eye?
Well, for starters, Shafiq, he got 109 against us, so he certainly caught my eye for quite a long time of the game. He looked like a good player. I mean, I guess they're a relatively inexperienced team, so it'll be a good test for them. I mean, Ireland have got some good players in their home conditions, so it'll be a good test against probably the swinging ball and the ball seaming around a little bit, probably a bit more than it perhaps did at North End. But they've got a strong lineup. They always have, and they showed last week. I think they 450 against us in not the easiest conditions for them. So I think they'll do well. They've got a strong batting lineup.
What did you make of Imam Ul-Haq? He's the nephew of course of Inzamam, and he got a 50, I think, in the second innings against you. He's been named as possibly one of the openers tomorrow. How do you see him going? What did you? Was there anything in particular that you picked up about his style of batting, or his strengths, or his weaknesses?
I mean, he comes from pedigree, so obviously the name, and Inzi was down there last week, so it was good to see him. Yeah, he's obviously a very good player. I think he might have even had a couple of 50s against us. He's a very good player. Tight in defence, and if there's an opportunity to score, he's there and thereabouts hitting it before. So he's got every chance of doing well. Like most of them, they're able to work balls to leg and just open up scoring opportunities. I guess that's going to be the thing for Ireland. Obviously, you play white ball cricket, and it's a very different game to Test cricket. I know they've played some, associate games, but that's the real test for the bowlers stepping up into the big league and in a Test arena. It's going to be a big challenge to be able to stop these guys scoring, and 5 days is a long time, and you've got to bowl a lot of overs and a lot of good balls in the right area because these guys can play.
Cut out.
Endo.
Yeah, cut out there.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, well, it's okay.
I was talking rubbish anyway.
I was going to. I'll just check with the bear whether we're still recording when we can locate him. I think he's visiting us.
Well, welcome back. 147 for 9. Worcester got to. At one point, it looked like they might not even get that. There's a fairly pedestrian 34 from Ricky Vessels, and Ross Whiteley a slightly more sprightly 36. But they didn't. They did use their 20 overs, but only just off the very last ball.
Well, that's how using 20 overs works.
Well, indeed. So the question here, as indeed it was for Middlesex, who got thumped by 10 wickets in the quarter-final, is can they manage to contain Alex Hales and Chris Nash? Now, Wayne Parnell has a decent record against Hales in T20. 17 balls bowled to him and only 19 runs conceded. And Moeen Ali 22 balls bowled to him with just 20 runs and 2 wickets.
I think Moeen Ali might be a good option to bowl the first over to Alex Hales.
So the voice to my left and reading tweets, Facebook messages, YouTube messages and carrier pigeons, if any come our way, will be, of course, the one and only Nakul Pandey. And to my right, suave, sophisticated, calm, cool, elegant, as ever.
None of those things apply.
Is not the man who's there, but it is Andy Ward.
The carrier pigeons can only come back here if we sent them out, though, can't they?
That's a good point. No, okay, well, we won't be getting any of those.
That's homing pigeons you're thinking of. A carrier pigeon could be sent, or a raven, I suppose, could be sent our way.
A raven is Game of Thrones.
Isn't that a bit like
Joffrey
buying a return ticket? I'd like a return ticket, please. Where to? Well, back here, obviously.
Well, yeah, but how do the carrier pigeons know where to go? I mean, they must have pre-assigned locations.
Well, they get taken somewhere and then sent back, yes.
Yes, that's it, exactly
so
that.
it could be that Messi Jez might have stolen a carrier pigeon while he was here,
all the way
taken it to Australia and released it sort of round about March time.
And we shall welcome Speckled
Jim
back.
Speckled Jim. Alex Hales, is he going to take the first strike or is it going to be Chris Nash?
Looks like Nash.
It's going to be Chris Nash.
Yes.
He's got a best 112 against
We've got a
Somerset
jingle.
at Hove in 2016 when he was playing for Sussex.
And it says Mog, so thank you, Mog. Needless to say.
The Monster Nash! Oh, I love it. And Nakul, the sayer of sooths. The man with a crystal ball, which is why he's sitting with his legs crossed, is none other than Nakul Pandey, who called it. It is going to be Moeen Ali.
Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali above.
He's right arm over to Chris Nash, who's immediately clipped him over mid-wicket. A perfect little chip shot. There is a man down there on the mid-wicket boundary, and they're off and running with a single.
Brings this man onto strike.
Hails, hails, the gang's all here. What a extra weekend, what an extra weekend. Hails, hails, the gang's all here. What
Here we
an
go.
extra weekend.
This will be his 23rd. Oh, and it turned and it's chipped. And there was a man there at mid-on, or sort of really more kind of mid-wicket, really. He was vaguely interested and couldn't get across in time. Hales will also be off and running with a single, but I don't really think that was the shot he intended, Andy, do you?
No, and while Nottinghamshire had an array of slow bowlers.
In comes Moeen Ali again.
Oh, it's gone the
that
other
one
way.
beats the outside edge of Nash. That was a leg break. Moeen Ali's bringing out all the tricks in his first 3 balls. He may have conceded 2 singles, but 2 of those deliveries have been absolute
That was a
pearlers.
genuine arm ball from Moeen Ali. I don't think I've seen him bowl that before.
Well, there you go. He's gone away and practiced. And that one again
Oh,
takes a
good
while.
shout.
I thought that was
Good
inside
shout.
edge. Rob Bailey
outside the line,
shaking his head. Personally, I thought it was a bit of inside edge, so it sounds to me like we all saw something different on this. We'll have another look and let you know.
Well, I was going
Played
to say,
across the line. There wasn't an inside edge.
I think that's a good shout.
think
I was
it
going to say, Moeen
low.
doesn't give you a moment.
In comes Moeen again. That one again was the one that went away from the right-hander.
Misfield.
And that was a bit of a misfield. I don't think they're going to run on it. No, they're not. So the score stays at 2. This is an excellent start from Worcester, and they need it to be so because they didn't set the most imposing of targets.
No, if I can get a word in Moeen Ali. Worcestershire didn't. I can't.
Too late.
I
In
can't.
comes Moeen Ali again. This one is lofted over mid-wicket. Again, it's that chip shot. Beautifully. Chris Nash has got this off to perfection, hasn't it? That little 9-iron over mid-wicket. So over the infield, and then there is a man on the mid-wicket boundary. It doesn't quite reach him. So Moeen Ali's just gone for 3, beaten the bat twice, had a pretty decent LBW shout, which we're having a look at, which was just sliding down leg.
We did see during the World Cup that Edgbaston was taking turn, which is not usual for Edgbaston.
Well, what I was desperately trying to spit out is that Nottinghamshire had slow bowlers, but none of them were trying to turn the ball.
Very true.
So
Also, Patel kept the lid on things pretty
No, he
well
did. But if
comparatively.
there is any turn in this wicket, it would not have been exposed in the previous innings. So maybe there is a bit of grip and turn. Anyway, another man is going to come and bowl.
Parnell.
Well, it seems that Nakul and I have a crystal ball each.
Wayne Parnell.
Because the other man who's got a particularly good record against Alex Hales is going to be bought on Wayne Parnell, although he's bowling to Chris Nash.
It wouldn't surprise you if they've read those figures and done that analysis. T20 is the most tactical of all its
Sample
forms.
size, though. They were both
In
like 20
comes Wayne
balls, weren't
Parnell,
they?
left arm over, short. On the pawl, really didn't get anything on it, just dribbled away down to short fine leg. And they won't take a single, so good start for him. 76 miles an hour, Wayne Parnell Big smile on his face. He's getting straight into his work.
If we've seen any deliveries above 80 miles an hour, it's been on. You can count them on the hands of one arm, on the hands of two arms, let alone the
two arms. Well, on the one hand, 4 fingers. As Parnell is going to be in again to Chris Nash, and Nash has chipped him down the ground. It's going to go all the way, I think. He got hold of that very nicely. Past mid-on, all the way into the long-on boundary for 4. It's
a different challenge for Notts compared to the sort of the steady diet of fast, medium and bowlers that Middlesex offered up with.
That was our problem. I mean, it was ugly to watch, really.
I mean, glorious to watch in terms of if you were watching sort of the clarity of Alex Hales.
Majid, who'd been our controller of things, just bowled utter pants, I'm afraid, on that particular occasion. In comes Parnell again. He's chipped or clipped by Chris Nash. It's over mid-wicket. It's going to be 4 more. He's really picking the gaps with that shot. He's thoroughly getting good results.
Well, only 2 people out there to pick between.
Indeed.
We would love to be able to give you a greater sense of the unfolding strategies by being able to show you the field, but I don't think we've seen a single
we don't get much chance
full widescreen of the field yet.
No, we don't. No, we don't, I'm afraid.
Well, I think they've got maybe a.
There we go. Deep mid-wicket and deep backwards square.
Mid-wicket, because it was previously long on. But he's gone round to Cow, really.
Parnell, who's bowling from the pavilion end, and this one is driven between cover and extra cover magnificently by Chris Nash. Is that his 3rd consecutive 4? I think it is, if you count the last over. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, not to harp on it, but this was looking ominously familiar to fans of Middlesex.
Well, thank you. As you well know, you are sitting next to one who's still still has nightmares of the Trent Bridge quarter.
Well, it gets better today. Watford are only away to Manchester City.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that as well, Andy. I'll try not to think about it. In comes Parnell. Ooh, and that one was a slower ball bumper, and Nash was kind of through with the shot, and it was past him. And into the gloves of Ben Cox, isn't it, behind the stumps?
I mean, what one would assume that Worcestershire's catching can't possibly be as bad as Middlesex's ended up being in that game. 3 very simple catches. The one that Stephen Finn dropped in particular was an absolute goober.
We've had a message on our WhatsApp group. The real Fred wants to know who's going to commentate on the mascot races. Parnell's in. This one is again hit big. Has he got all of it, Chris Nash? Oh, yes, he has, over mid-wicket. That's 6.
A lot easier when there's pace on the ball, and Wayne Parnell gave him some pace on the ball in that over.
Sorry, we were talking about in the agreement, there was only 1 vote for commentating on the mascot race, which was me. Everyone else was a no.
No one. I didn't even know there was a vote. I don't mind doing it with you. We could do it as a double header.
Linux Lear says, speaking of sending both of them out to pasture, any developments regarding David Gower joining the Revolutionary Forces? Well, David, if you are...
talks are ongoing.
Yes,
talks
indeed.
are indeed ongoing. The last message we got from him was suggesting Ian Botham would have a greater vested interest because he got wine to flog.
Yeah, but contact has been made with the embassy. And Brian 001 says, are you all listening out for the doorbell if I order something liquid? We most certainly are. Any and all offers are gratefully received. We do expect a care package is incoming from Messi Jez.
Well, there's a new change of bowling incoming at the moment. It's going to be Charlie Morris.
Don't have a jingle.
And he doesn't have a jingle. He's right arm over. He's into Alex Hales, and Alex Hales just pushes it back down the track to him. Chris Nash has created a situation where Notts absolutely do not have to panic, although quite often one feels Alex Hales only really has one mode, which is go for it, doesn't he?
Interesting to take Moen off after 1 very effective over.
Yeah, my own batting was described in a match report last weekend as like a man trying to run for a bus.
Well, there we go. This one, and Hales has gone high and long and all the way
shot
over long off for a beautifully struck one of these.
2, 4, 6.
Yeah, I do preach getting on with the game, but you'll be glad to hear that I practice it as well.
Yeah, well, I've watched you play. I've umpired you while you've been playing.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of classical stroke making, though, from my recollection. Yeah, I think so.
Not compared to Rog. Rog was making me look like a clubber.
Hales again, so he's dead batted 2 and just gone over long off for a 6 for the middle of those 2. So sort of a interesting sandwich there with a 6 sandwich. two conventional defensive shots and one absolutely gorgeous off drive, high for 6.
It was a beautiful shot, but it was in the slot from Charlie Morris.
It was in the famous slot. And Charlie Morris is in again, right arm over, driven past Morris, who's diving away to his left. I think he might have got something on it to take the pace off it. And Parnell was the man at mid-off who could do the tidying up, and it just means Hales will get himself a single. Chris Nash will be back on strike. He's 20 off 11.
Now, Chris Nash came in for the quarter-final. Why was he not playing previously to that?
Joe Clark had been the opener throughout the season before that. I think Joe Clark was unavailable for the quarter-final through an injury.
I think that was
the case. He just took his chance.
Didn't really matter much to Nottinghamshire.
But he's got a very good record in this tournament.
They just went, here comes another medium-paced ball I can smash into the crowd. That one Nash waits for nicely. He's looking to carve it away through point, but it's well fielded, diving away to his right by that point fielder.
Who fielded that rather in the style of a goalkeeper pushing the ball away from the danger area.
He did. He dived to his right. Oh, he did rather, yeah.
Oh, he sort of fell over mid-dive, which didn't help.
And he did. He did the right thing, though. He didn't push it straight away to the striker. He pushed it away to his side, as you rightly said, Andy.
It's Brett D'Oliveira, I think.
It was indeed. The next off the cab, off the rank of the D'Oliveira dynasty.
That might be our liquid lunch.
And that is again carved, but again straight to point. And Hales perhaps just showing a little sign that he's trying to move things and not getting quite what he wanted from it. That won't upset Worcestershire because they'll be wanting to see him looking a tad frustrated.
Yeah, Hales can get into this mode where he hits a nice shot straight to fielders, but obviously we all know his destructive capabilities. On Quick Tracker, Munjanata Sogi is with us, Aman Khan is with us, Irfan Ahmed is with us, Naveed is with us as well, and we'll give you some more from YouTube as well when this computer does its business. Yankee 7000, if not won the toss, then who did? As in,
very good. Yes, not won the toss.
I wouldn't open with it.
Not Fred. It could be not. Pizzas have arrived. Oh, how fabulous! Is that what
variety are they? Anyway,
well, they're wonderful. Anyway, they knew the Brown is in, and that's clipped by Nash straight to mid-on, and they will just get themselves a single.
Yeah, Pat Brown took 19 wickets on the way to Worcestershire winning the T20 title last year. Not quite as effective this year, but still very good. 14 wickets and an economy of 8.48 hitherto.
And indeed 4 wickets in the semi-final, which is what Worcestershire need here.
Yeah, quarter-final.
No, semi-final.
Semi-final last year.
Oh, last year. I beg your pardon. Yeah, I was going to say. In comes Brown. Full slower. And Hales again has to wait for it and just bunt it back down the track to the bowler.
Yeah.
Very good. Again, slower ball. Let's have a look at how he bowls this.
That was an off break.
Rolls his fingers over it.
Sort of side Ojmal off break.
It was an off break. Excellent delivery.
I think Hales is going to try to line one of these up in a minute, though.
Yeah, watch out, deep mid-wicket.
Bowling from that pavilion
Watch
end.
out, idiots walking in front of the side screen. They're just walking straight in front of it.
Those are stewards.
Well, yes, all right. Well, I don't think they're all stewards, are they?
Well, they've got lanyards.
Well, they need the lanyards taken off and shoved where the sun
Yeah, they walked across.
That's appalling behaviour.
Walked across in front of the sight screen to throw a beach ball back.
Well, that's what's most important.
Seriously, you have to wonder. There is the beach ball, which is now making its own way down the stairs.
Took 4 of them as well.
Hales is absolutely livid.
Well, wouldn't you be?
It does seem remarkable behaviour.
It's only a final, and
when you're playing on the park and people who have no connection just walk
exactly, some
across
bloke walking his dog or something. In comes Brown. Hales waits for it, carves it, but carves it straight to get extra cover, and there's no run.
Yeah, 5 men saving 1 in the offside. Very clear where Pat Brown's going to try and bowl this.
Yeah, well, he T20 averages just under a shade under 20. 46 wickets he's got in this format, so he's he's a very, very handy performer indeed.
Got his Bangladesh Premier League contract last year.
Went wicketless and quite expensive in the in that quarter-final against Sussex. In he is again, right arm over, and this one is driven nicely by Hales. But the man at long off, which is Moeen Ali, who I can only see in silhouette, but it can only be Moeen Ali given the shadow of the beard.
The shadow of the beard.
The beard that is revered or feared, but nonetheless, it was doing its job there.
Oh, and we mustn't forget to say thank you very much for those pizzas.
Well, yes, indeed. Who were they from, Knuckle, do we know?
We think Messy Jez, but can our benefactor please make themselves known?
Yes, if it was you, Messers, thank you. And if we're thanking you for something you haven't sent, well, just thank you generally for being you. As that one is whipped away nicely off his toes by Nash. There is a man at deep mid-wicket. They will take a single. 32 without loss. Without loss is a pretty crucial stat.
Yeah, indeed. We've got an update from Mike Yates on the pizzas. 2 salami and mushroom and 1 cheese.
Ah, okay, but who from? This is what we need to know.
From whom?
From whom? Oh, Lord. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay. An English lesson at the same time.
I'm the pedant's pedant.
The pedant's pedant when it comes to the...
Where's the apostrophe?
Mangulation of the English language. As in comes Brown. This one again is that sort of floaty, slower ball, and that's whipped off his toes by Alex Hales. It's out to mid-wicket. They will take a single. And that concludes Brown's first over, which is a very, very tidy one indeed, at just 4 runs conceded.
Yeah, it's been an odd innings actually, because Moeen's first over went for 3. Pat Brown's has just gone for 4. Charlie Morris went for 8, which is a sort of middling sort of T20 innings. But then who was it who bowled the second over?
No, he bowled
Wayne Parnell went for 18.
Parnell, yes.
Yeah.
Remember at this stage,
taken apart by Chris Nash.
Worcestershire had lost themselves 2 wickets. So I think they were close to. They were over 40, weren't they? But they lost 2, whereas Notts are slightly lower on the run scored, but have the wickets in hand as Hales waits for this, slaps it straight to
Hamish Rutherford.
Hamish Rutherford. Hamish Rutherford.
Yes, one of many very Scots-sounding New Zealanders. Yeah. The men back are at deep square leg and long on, so we've got a sort of short third man come deep gully, backward point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, and actually now I think the mid-on's come up and deep mid-wicket's gone back with the deep square leg and the short fine leg. Is that too many fielders?
In comes Morris again. Again, that's just chucked into, really pushed into the pitch, and it means batsman has to wait for it, and it's not coming onto the bat at quite the speed they will want. They do get a single. It's 35 without loss.
Yeah, Nash trying to make room and go through the offside, because obviously if he gets it through the offside, there's no one out there on the boundary, but good work from that heavily reinforced offside ring.
It's noticeable that they all are on the edge of the ring.
Here comes Morris. Uppishly off the splice. But between cover and extra cover in the classical manner from Alex Hales, and that's a gorgeous 4.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Farhan Shakani on our own Facebook page says Notts will win easily.
I think it's probably a decentish shout at the moment.
And certainly if Worcestershire don't dismiss probably both Nash and Hales fairly quickly, this could be a bit of a stroll.
If this was a football match, Andy, I think I'd be singing "Are You Middlesex" in disguise to
the ultimate insult.
Steady on, as this one is just defensively pushed back.
Up.
Well, I did, but I wasn't quite expecting that retort. I mean, I know Middlesex have been pretty mediocre this season. Actually, their T20 cricket was all right. That was pushed away, by the way, for no run. 39 without loss are Notts.
Yeah, star-studded batting lineup with Sterling, Milan, De Villiers and Hafiz.
Yep, they have had that, but they just didn't turn up. Didn't turn up when they needed to at Trent Bridge. This one, Hales again carves through cover all the way for 4. He's picking the gaps in the field quite majestically.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
That's the 5th 4 of the innings. We've also had 2 6s as well, both of course to Alex Hales. He's not afraid of hitting it slightly uppish, is he?
No, he's going to give it the power, and as you say, when he really goes through that, he's also looking for the gap. I mean, they've got 2 men behind square on the offside, which is interesting, but that does leave bits of a gaps between the other 3.
And Morris is going to be in again, and Hales waits. Has he got enough of this? He's pulled it through mid-wicket. There's a man down there, though, at, deep long on, I guess, or long on. And will restrict him to a single, but will keep him the strike, so I don't suppose he'll be that upset. How are we doing on tweets?
Yeah, Brian 001 says the doorbell should ring in 15 minutes or so, and will be music to our ears.
Exciting.
And
do we know what? Do we know what it's going to be?
Something liquid.
Refreshments.
Hello.
Hello. Ding dong. Adnan Vai
Ding dong indeed.
is with us on Facebook.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Hello, hello.
And that's us up to date on the social media. Please do leave us messages on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter throughout today.
5 overs completed, 44 without loss are Nottinghamshire. Going nicely. That target we think was probably close to 30 short. It's going to be Ed Barnard. Best of 3 for 29. Right arm, quickish medium, and that one is just chipped away again into the mid-wicket by Hales. They've taken one, they're going to come back for 2. Ran that very nicely.
Lazy fielding though. I don't think long on was in very quickly.
Look that great. I don't suppose Captain Moeen Ali's that impressed, and indeed he's having a encouraging word.
Yeah, mid-off shouldn't be able to beat long on like that. Ed Barnard 11 wickets at 8.34 in this year's competition. Very effective.
Yeah.
Was run out very well by Joe Clark, and probably that lost about
comes again.
15 runs.
Hales.
Oh dear.
This has gone through extra cover all the way to the boundary for 4. Yes, not great fielding from Worcestershire, I'm afraid.
Presumably 8.34 is his economy rate, not his average.
Sorry, yes, 8.34 economy rate.
Right, yes, that was 4.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball.
Oh, you don't need that to underpass.
Not from your skipper, certainly.
Oh, hello, and he's got a leading edge, and once again it's safe. It was chipped straight up in the air, and it went over the bowler's head, dropped round about where a shortish mid-on would have been. Mid-on is slightly more set back, and Alex Hales has got away with one there.
And that landed halfway to the circle. You very rarely have a fielder there.
He pulled the shot, didn't he? It looked like he was originally going to sort of pull it all the way around mid-wicket, but just got a bit of a leading edge. This one, Nash has whipped away around the corner. It's a catch. It's gone. Well, good Lord. So the first wicket has fallen. 51 for 1 are Notts. They need 97 from 87 balls, but they've lost their first wicket. It's Chris Nash.
Picked him out.
Pulled around the corner. The man at back of square, straight down his throat, in fact. And the Outlaws have lost their first wicket. And coming to the crease is the belligerent, aggressive, bustling, beer-pouring Ben Duckett.
Ben Duckett and Alex Hales, lock up your daughters.
Yes, well, there you are. What a combo. What a combo.
Anyway,
What a fine example to the youth of today.
It is.
We have recreational drug use and party fight starter going in tandem.
You can beat up random members of the public, but you can't pour a beer over Jimmy Anderson if you want to play for England.
Indeed not.
He arrived with a smile, and he's going places. He's looking good now, he's in with the aces. He was up at Stowe School playing T20. He might play for England, but he'll still be Ben Duckett to me.
Well, he's facing Barnard. In fact, he's off the mark immediately. Turns this very, very nicely off his legs to mid-wicket, and will take a single. Bring Hales, who is very much looking the man in form. He's struck the sixes that have been hit. 27 off 18 for him so far.
You say that. We've seen a leading edge, a few shots he hasn't
There
really
is a
got
slight
hold
feeling,
of.
I think, that probably the ball is not coming on
Yeah, I was
quite
just
as
going to
much
say,
off this track. Maybe it's a little sticky.
Well, they're going to use the same track all day, aren't they?
They are. Yes, they are.
I don't know that it's not coming on. I just think that every now and again one is sticking, because when bowlers are bowled at full pace, there does seem to be decent carry in the wicket.
Again, good ball, excellent ball, and hasn't got an edge there, has he? No, I don't think he has. It's the end of the over.
Oh no, he defended it to backward point.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The lighting is quite difficult, actually. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, the sky cameras do seem to be quite dark and almost shadowy, but a good power play for Notts. 52 for 1. Now just need 96 at under 7 and over to secure their second finals day in 3 years, and ends end Worcestershire's dream of becoming the first team to defend the T20 Blast title.
Never been done before, has it?
Praveen Pudel on Crick Tracker says, "Why is the match not available to see here? Only commentators." Well, alas, we do not have the rights for the T20 Blast, even how little the ECB seem to value it. They won't give it to us.
In the power play, their Notts have hit something like 38% of their runs over long off. If you're talking about a right-hander, that's probably the work of Alex Hales. Moeen Ali's coming around the wicket to duck it, and he just leans into that and guides it away to square leg.
Yeah, 80% down the ground.
Which is an interesting stat. Anyway, yes,
not at all surprised by that, to be honest.
Moeen, because we got another one.
Shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO.
He's in again. He's into Hales, who takes a little half step down the crease just to again push him away into the offside. It's almost as if, and the next ball will probably be sailing into the stands for 6. But it seems to me like they've been quite watchful of Ali, thinking, well, we can get our runs against other bowlers. As this one is a ball on a good length. Hales has to step back again. It's carved away into the offside, but again there's a man there. So again, no run.
And with Moeen having turned the first one sharply, then bowled the arm ball next ball, it's difficult to know for the batters to line him up, because you have that uncertainty as to whether one's going to turn and whether one isn't.
Ali again, perfect ball on off stump. They will get a single this time, as it was away between point and cover. But it was only a little dab, really, wasn't it, by Hales? It certainly wasn't a full-blooded shot. He's taken a single, bring Duckett, who's going at a runnable 2.
Well, we have reached the end of the power play, so the field has been spread.
Yeah, we'll try and give you a bit more detail of who's where when we can. 54 for 1. We definitely do know. Ali's around the wicket, ramped quite deliciously by Duckett. Not full-blooded, just a sort of a ramp chip, if you can imagine one of those. He wasn't going for the boundary. He just flicked it over the wicket-keeper. He knew that there was a man there on the
I think he was done 45. In the flight there. I think Moeen took the pace off there, and the ball barely hit the bat. We will have a change at the end of the over.
Moeen Ali's going to be in again. Oh, and did he lean forward? He was looking to drive.
All right to me.
I think Hales had his foot rooted. He was looking to drive it away on the offside. The ball just, I think, probably went on with the arm, but the flight did him.
Ben Cox is very, very quick with those hands.
Ben Cox did his job quite superbly. We're going to have a look now. Hales has a big foot all the way, full length stride.
Only if he lifts it.
He doesn't lift his leg. He doesn't lift his leg. He's aware of what's happening. He doesn't lift his leg.
Well, he did a little bit.
But we move on.
He did a little bit, but then he got the foot down almost instantaneously. Sharp work from Ben Cox, but Alex Hales knowing exactly where his back foot was. Yeah, they changed. I'm going to come out, and Captain Mike Yates is going to come back in. Andy's going to come to ball by ball, and Tony's going to move to jingles.
Oh, God help you all. I'll do my best.
Oh, that's now, isn't it? That's the end of the over. Sorry. Theme tunes.
Fidel Castro, Benny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, Guerrilla Cricket.
So it's Daryl Mitchell who's going to come on to bowl. We can see a man going out deep to long on. And Nottinghamshire have negotiated 2 overs of Moeen Ali, who's looked the most threatening bowler. But a little half bat on that from Duckett, goes out to cover, and there's no run. 55 for 1. Nottinghamshire need another 93 from 77. They were threatening to get that down to a runner ball, but the wicket has slowed them down a little bit. Duckett faces up, bowler's right arm round onto the pads, and it's clipped out to mid-wicket. They're going to push for 2, and they're not quite going to take it. Good bit of fielding. How's the pizza there, Mike?
It's looking lovely. I haven't yet indulged.
Dug in yet. Okay.
Well, it's like good news and bad news. The good news is some fabulous pizzas have been delivered. The bad news is you're on ball by ball while they're while they're cooling off in the kitchen.
Right, all salami and cheese, mate. No odds to me.
Oh, of course. Yes. I forgot.
Hales is back on. How could you forget? I constantly remind you.
Well, you do. But I still forget.
Hales placed that one up to long off and for a single.
After taking the photos, I did close the boxes, so they are not.
They are maintaining their temperature.
Oh, good man.
In as much as cardboard boxes can.
Has-
Mitchell, sorry, go on.
Has the donor of the pizzas come forward?
I don't think so. Keep an eye on the Twitter. A little bit shorter. Duckett plays that one up to long on. They'll take another single. Duckett just easing his way into this innings. And Worcestershire, if they can't take a wicket, they're trying to just extend the difference between the runs required and the balls required.
Like Magwitch in Great Expectations, they're retaining the anonymity of their generosity.
I have read Great Expectations, but I don't remember that bit.
I'm hoping I haven't mixed my Dickens novels up actually there, but I don't think I have.
It's easily done. As Hales punches that one up to long off, and there is no run. 1 run, sorry.
Yes, 89 from 73. You feel, so long as they're 1 down and Hales is at the crease, then they're pretty much in control of this
in the driving
situation.
seat. The 4 men are short, square and back of the wicket, and they're deep in front, as you would expect. As Duckett plays that one out to deep point, there is a single. Saw a little thing with Kumar Sangakkara on the other day, talking about playing spin in T20, and he says, hit the sweeper, hit the sweeper, hit the sweeper. Keep hitting the sweepers, and then put the bad ball away for 4. Not a bad judge. Something that surprised me, or looking at our team sheets that Knackle has kindly put up, Darren Stevens for Derbyshire.
Yep, he was been on loan there. Before you arrived, they have 3 players in their squad whose combined age is 112, because you've also
Hope
got...
for us all.
You have
Well,
not only Darren Stevens at 43, you have Boyd Rankin at 35, I think.
And Ravi Rampal.
And Ravi Rampal at 34, yeah.
Now, why is Ravi Rampal not marked as overseas on there? Surely he is overseas. Anyway, Duckett goes down for the ramp, and lovely shot. He's changed it. He was going for leg side. He changed it to offside, put it straight through where first slip would have been. And the Stormtroopers are happy because that is 4. Oh, okay. Thank you. 4. Yep, I should have known better than to question Knackle's work. Rampal is a Kolpak, so there you go.
But he's been a consistent performer for Derbyshire in all formats in the last couple of years. So I'm looking forward to seeing them today.
Strong cut shot by Duckett, but that is going to go out to the sweeper for 1. But the thing with Stevens is, so you can go on loan for white ball, but stay where you are for red ball.
Yes.
And Samit Patel's been on loan to Glamorgan for red ball, but playing for
Vice
Notts in
versa.
white ball.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a crazy world. You need to keep up with it. You wait till the 100 starts.
Don't start people.
No
off.
one will know who they're playing for if Annie Chave is listening. If
Don't
you want to know
don't start people
100
off.
reasons to think the 100's the best thing to ever happen to cricket, then get in touch with Annie Chave.
Clubbed out past cover by Alex Hales. Deep cover is round. They should get 2. Never mind 100. It's the double 100 for Darren Stevens, wasn't it?
Oh, it was.
237.
And he took 7 wickets, didn't he? Take 7 wickets as well. It was a comprehensive thumping win.
He was
for
certainly
Kent.
up there in the short list of old people who've hit first class double hundreds. So I'm sure Jack Hobbs was in there.
But he's also I'll hold that thought just for a second.
Barnard's in again. It's onto the legs, and it's easily chipped up to long on by Hales, who seems to have gone into a single mode for the moment.
But sometimes his poor Darren Stevens is used in the context of what's wrong
Yes.
with English cricket, because
Yeah.
you go, because Darren Stevens keeps taking wickets. So he's the classic, when the ball's nibbling about in April or September, this goes, that's why Darren Stevens gets him. And you have to be a bloody good bowler to still get to make it nibble and get those wickets.
A lot of skill. He's not just putting it up there. Yeah.
And of course he used to be most of the time as an opener in his earlier days.
Duckett clips that one into the leg side. Fielder is round. Are they going to get 2? Probably not. I don't think so. And again, both sides seem to be happy with a holding pattern of a run a ball for the moment. But I would suggest that probably suits Nottinghamshire a bit more than Worcestershire. They need wickets.
Worcester need to make something happen. They need something special.
They really do. Who is going to stand up and do it? Moeen Ali's only got 2 overs left. Pat Brown maybe. Wayne Parnell. Anyway, here comes Barnard. It's in the slot. Hales pumps it over the top. It's gone into the shade. Can't quite see if that's 4 or 6 at long on.
I'm glad you said that. It's not just me. I think it's 4.
It's when it goes into the shade. You're not sure. Someone in the crowd is waving a 6 card. If that's
Billy hops and kicks. The number of the day is 6.
And in our defence, I think that was as much the camera work as the shade. That's what I'm going to say.
No, I was having trouble. There was one hit earlier by Moeen Ali, actually. I think the second of his sixes, and it was really hard to tell where it had pitched, and it had just literally pitched probably a foot over the sponge, but it was out of the sunlight and into the shadow, and it was really hard to see.
Yeah, and that's the thing with that holding pattern of a runner ball. Suddenly you get a 6 away on top of 5 singles, and it's a good over for the batting side. Nottinghamshire are 75 for 1. CF Worcestershire was 69 for 2 at this stage. It's going to be another new bowler. It's Brett D'Oliveira.
It is indeed. Oh, we don't have a jingle for him.
No, I wasn't suggesting we did.
I know, but it's the Pavlovian reaction. As soon as you said
I
new bowler and pause, I thought, oh right, I lunged for no one there.
And it's a bit of a leg spin. Keeper standing up. It's played out to the sweeper. Might get 2 here. The fielder dives down. They do get a fairly comfortable 2. 2 to Duckett. He's on to 14. Beautiful day in Edgbaston, as it is in South London actually. Indian summer we've got here.
Well, we most definitely do. Poor Brett D'Oliveira made his Worcestershire debut.
He's coming in now. Duckett's gone for the reverse quite early. He's hit it high in the air, but that was a 1 bounce 4 as he's hit it behind point. Nice shot.
Great shot.
I'm looking over a 4.
Duckett showing some of the form that gained him England appearances. Even
reverse sweep, wasn't it?
Red ball as well. I remember he was reverse sweeping a lot in his test appearances. Perhaps too much for some people's liking. The traditionalists. He's on to 18.
If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, you look a mug.
Well, you should ask Mike Gatting. That one's played up to...
I did. Well, I didn't actually.
No, you didn't.
I asked him a lot of questions, but that wasn't one of them.
You didn't mention that one, no. I shouldn't think you mentioned Shackle Rana either.
No, and I was going to mention... I did actually, off-air, have a little chat with him about his time playing for Watford Reserves.
Okay.
So we did manage to have a Watford conversation.
But that's available on Patreon with also an English one with Angus Fraser, I think he did as well.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Fuller ball by D'Oliveira, and it's defended by Hales, and there's no run. All of that available on our Patreon feed.
Indeed it is. Well, Brett D'Oliveira made his Worcestershire debut the summer after the death of his grandfather Basil, and also had to cope with the premature loss of his father 2 years later.
Oh, slightly aerial again from Hales. He's played a few in the air, but he's managed to put them all in the gap. That one goes up to long off for a single.
Best of 4 for 26 with the ball in T20. Average is about 33 and has taken 42 T20 wickets.
83 for 1 Nottinghamshire. They have closed that gap. It's 65 from 61. Yeah. Batting side got to fancy our chances here. 2 batsmen reasonably set.
9 in hand. You call that comfortable.
Oh, Duckett again went very early for the reverse sweep, and D'Oliveira might have seen him and thrown it short and wide off stump, and Duckett couldn't get hold of it. That's the end of the over.
Well, the curious thing there was that literally everybody, including the batsmen, were looking towards the mid-wicket boundary
before he'd even hit it.
And then he suddenly realised, oh, hello, it's behind me. Oh, no, it's not, but it was.
Indeed.
So, yeah, that equation, ever getting, closer to just the runner ball, and that's a stroll by modern T20 standards, isn't it? We should let Captain Mike update us on messages, if there are any.
We will have Brian joining us fairly imminently, I believe, if my...
I don't think he's joining us. I think he's sent a delivery.
Right.
Unless he's bringing it himself.
So it may be
Where's he from?
It may be him that sent the those pizzas.
Well, if it was, you please confirm that, because we are so grateful. It's a wonderful thought.
Pat Brown, can he make a difference? It's a slow ball, punched up to long on.
Brian sending beer. Messi Jez sent the pizzas. That's the key information of the day.
We need
beer and pizza. It's a healthy feast for hungry gorillas.
We're having a look at some of the players who are going to be on the second semi-final, having a bit of a warm-up.
Hungry and grateful gorillas, I might also point
out. Yes, so huge thanks to Messengers and to Brian for the goodies that they have sent and are sending.
So Alex Hales is almost on 41 without you really noticing. A couple of sixes.
41 off 31.
Eased over long off. I'm going to run a ball apart from that. Brown is in again, round the wicket. Shorter ball, Duckett plays it into the leg side. He might have taken the pace off that enough for 2. Don't think so. Vessel's the fielder. Ooh, a bit of a wild throw. But someone was backing it up.
If you have the Rocky Horror Show for Patel with Damn It, Sammit, what would you have for Duckett? To a similar tune.
Better not say.
Just a thought. It was going through my head. I will tell you something
maybe
about
he'll say that when he
I
gets
will tell you something about our jingles in a minute.
When he gets out, if you're a Nottinghamshire fan. Very short ball. Hales pulls it away. Deep square is there, and it'll just be a single.
I went to watch Middlesex play Lancashire up at Old Trafford because I'd actually never been to Old Trafford, and it was a great opportunity to go. So, and literally, it's a decentish crowd, but obviously fairly empty Old Trafford. And every time a 4 was hit, a 6 was hit, and a bowling change in some instances, in my head I'm hearing Guerrilla Cricket jingles. Sometimes I'm sort of muttering them out loud, and some sort of Lancastrian look at me strangely going, "Eel lad."
Brown is in. It's another slow ball, and Duckett plays it back to the bowler for no run. What's
This one's
even
a bit
weirder,
strange.
if you go into a shop and you hear a jingle. I went into a shop and they played the I think Justin Timberlake Gone song.
Yep.
And I thought, oh dear, who's out?
Yes, it is. It's Pavlovian. We are conditioned to what our jingles mean. You might as well ring a bell and have a slavering for a bowl full of something or other.
Well, that's what happens.
Pizza, in fact, in this
when
instance.
the doorbell goes. Yeah.
Ding ding! Oh, it's pizza.
Brown, who's only gone for 7 off 10 balls.
Oh,
a bit of a flash from Duckett. That was a quicker ball from Brown. But no real threat of a wicket. That's the problem. That's 86 miles an hour. That might be as quick as anything we've seen all day. He does have that in his locker, Pat Brown. But Nottinghamshire only 1 wicket down, plenty of batting to come, and they need 62 from 55 to take their place in the final against Derbyshire or Essex.
Good economy from Pat Brown, isn't it? If he manages to keep the lid on for the last ball of his second over.
Is he on England's T20 radar?
I think he may be.
Oh, and there's Squidward in the crowd there. Happy to see that.
Oh, again.
As Brown again bowls a slow ball. I'm giving up saying slower balls. They're just slow. And Duckett plays it back to the bowler. There's no run. 86 for 1.
The point is, Notts are timing things nicely. I think the ball is not coming onto the bat necessarily that quickly. The pitch is perhaps a little bit grippy.
Now, a lot of the time...
But they don't have to hurry.
The old wagon wheels don't tell you much. Oh... But that one really does. Alex Hales had scored all his runs in sort of the V. He's scored nothing square or behind square at all.
Which is
out of 41.
Entirely a sensible way to start an innings in an important game where you're not chasing a big total. Play yourself in with the more conventional shots. That's what he's been doing.
Moen's going to come back in. He's been the major threat so far because he's got a bit of turn. He put one the other way in the first over, past the batsman. That turns in a little bit. He's played to mid-wicket for no run.
Here he is.
Prince Ali, fabulous he, Ali Ababa. Genuflect, show some respect, down on one knee.
I wonder if Alex Hales is going to go down on one knee for the slog sweep. It's not impossible. That would be the opposite of showing some respect. Turns in a bit again. There's a bit of a run, sent him back. Yes, no, wait. They get away with it, but it's another dot ball.
Well, the other bowler who we haven't seen yet, of course, who does have a pretty decent record, not in terms of taking wickets, but in terms of drying up runs against Alex Hales, is Wayne Parnell.
Right, he didn't dry it up very much in the first over, but in his first over, that was Chris Nash mostly.
Yeah, it was indeed.
He has gone down on one knee, Alex Hales, genuflected, but could only play it to short, fine leg, and that's 3 dots from Moen. I wonder if Hales will be getting a little bit tetchy with this. 15 balls for 6 from Moen. Certainly the opposite of his strike rate with the bat. Oh, it was full and a bit risky from Hales, but he did swing it away down to deep square, just the single. Good stuff from Moen, but he's only got 1 over left after this one. And that's what'll be worrying Worcestershire.
2-2 these two in the last 5 that they played in terms of T20s.
But Derbyshire and Essex have never played each other in
Worcestershire
T20.
won the... Yeah, no, indeed, that's very true. Worcestershire won the last one here, given that there was an abandonment in the
Gone
5th
for the
of the
reverse
series.
again, Duckett. It doesn't beat short third man, but they will get a single. Of course, the blast has been regionalised since its beginning, hasn't it? So Derbyshire could only play Essex in the quarterfinals.
If they got
onwards.
to a quarter-final, that's right. Big Bird is watching on there.
Must be a bit annoying being sat behind that. 8-foot giant yellow bird. Moen's in again. Shorter, Hales regulation punch past mid-wicket, and he'll pick up an easy single. It's the end of the over. Good stuff from Moen. 3 overs for 9, but crucially no wickets.
Kind of par for the course if you're in the Hollies stand, though, isn't it? You've got to accept. There's a lot of Joe Root. Oh, there's a Joss Butler and a Joe Root and an Owen Morgan.
Yeah,
and those sort of wobbly face masks.
You get them wearing those face masks. They must constrict your vision a lot.
Well, yeah. How much do you want to look like? Probably only when the cameras are on you, I would think.
Yes, I think we'll have a change after this over.
Okay.
For the remainder of this game.
I've got a funny feeling that it just involves me in changing seats rather than
taking
taking up a different location.
Grubby's here, so he might get 2 coming in.
We need Knuckle. Knuckle is policing production affairs today.
That sounds like the beer
doorbell
man just
again.
arrived.
Could be the beer man. Pat Brown is going to come in. Steps away, Duckett, and clubs it between extra cover and mid-off, and you'll get 4 for that. Hales, sorry. Shouldn't really mix up the batsmen since they're right-handed and left-handed, and one's about 8 inches taller than the other.
Yeah. One sort of squat, slightly bearded.
Alex Hales again getting a short ball, and as has been his wont today, clubbing it fairly straight.
It is the beer. It's grubby with beer. Not 2 words that you probably quite often would hear associated with one another.
Hales on 48. Puts it again. That one he has hit square. He's beaten point. He's gone out to deep point. If they get back for 2, he'll be on 50. They do, and he is.
Yep. Oh, is that a 50 for him?
That's a 50.
Oh, well, that's one of these then.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
Well, no doubts about Alex Hales' ability in white ball cricket. Brown is in again. He just taps that one into the leg side. Has he taken enough off that to get 2? It's a long time for a fielder to get in the frame. I think they might have got 2 there.
He was spotted.
No, just 1.
Spotted at a Pace Factor Open Day. Was Pat Brown?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Alex Hales.
No, Pat Brown at Wellington School. He had 6 offers from counties, and Worcestershire clearly were the most enticing. Probably bowling coach Ross Stewart's work, I believe. I think they've got a good one there.
He's what, 19? 20?
He is... hold that thought for a second.
He comes around the wicket.
He's 21.
21. Slow ball. Duckett just waits and taps it up to long on to be an easy single. 51 off 44 is the equation, with 9 wickets in hand and 2 set batsmen, and Worcestershire need some magic from someone.
They do. They do. Hales is... Well, he's been quite controlled. I mean, when he's gone for the... He had the sort of, as you rightly pointed out a bit earlier, he had a sort of a leading edge, and maybe a couple where he was prepared to let the ball come onto the back and just push it back to the bowler. But he's timed his innings quite beautifully.
Clipped that one into the leg side. Again, it'll be at least 1. I expect only 1. Barnard comes in.
And that's why I think we were saying we felt Worcestershire were at least 20, 25, possibly 30 short.
It looks it now,
because
doesn't
he's
it?
now, he's not having to hurry, and really it is wickets and only wickets, I think, that are really going to win this game for Worcestershire.
Yeah. And a lot of them.
Yeah.
When Moeen Ali thinks those are going to come.
Grubby.
Last ball of the over. It's
beer
Grubby
in hand
and a beer.
Who's moving where, Grubs? I am. That's what I thought. I'm just hopping.
I'll be able to get a bit of soup.
One seat to another. But we're tucking into pizza. Well, we won't be. I noticed the pizza and the beers all arriving while I'm just changing chairs during this entire innings.
You snooze, you lose.
That's
Pat Brown comes in. Another slow ball, and a little bit of hesitation, but covering it across quickly enough, and they get through for the single. Nottinghamshire need 49 from 42. Knackle, Grubby, and Tony will take you through the rest of this match.
Hesitation, deviation, repetition.
Hello, dead air, you can't beat it. It's Grubby here. I've slotted into the central missionary position. Knackle has eased himself into the jingle chair.
Hello.
And Tony is going to be eventually taking his tweet seat. So after 13 overs, Notts are 99 for 1. Very much in control of this first semi-final of Finals Day. First time, the inaugural, that's not even a word, inaugural covering by Guerrilla Cricket of this day. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker.
49 required from 42 balls. Should be a walk in the park. But let's see what Moeen et al. Can do about that. Moeen's going to come round the wicket, his head freshly shaved. I do worry about him getting sunstroke. And a little lap reverse by Ben Duckett, which winds up at backward point, and he comes through for a single. He moves on to 24, and it's 100 for 1.
It's been interesting seeing the completely different plans. Ben Duckett has used that reverse sweep a lot. It is a shot he likes to play. All of his boundaries have been there. That 2 to point that Alex Hales brought his 50 up with was his first scoring shot that wasn't down the ground.
Yeah, very much in the V, as Andy was describing before. This ball is straight. Oh no, he's caught behind. Hales has been caught behind.
That's what they need.
The arm ball, I think, from Moeen. He was expecting some turn there. Hales was. It didn't arrive. He attempted to drive it through the covers. Got a thin edge and a nice catch behind there. And Worcestershire will be pretty relieved to see the back of Alex Hales.
Beautiful bowling from Moeen, tossed up above the eye line, really slow, dipping on Hales, did him for lack of pace, and a good juggling catch by Ben Cox.
Yeah, it was in the gloves. He did just juggle it momentarily, but he clung onto it, and that could be an important wicket. You still fancy Notts should be well in charge of this game. A very strong batting lineup, Samit Patel and Dan Christian among others to come. But if Worcestershire are to come back into this game, then that's what they needed to do. What we got on social there, Tone?
We've got a bit. We've got a bit, Grubs. We've got a Brit. Brian001 says, OK, doorbell should ring in 15 minutes.
That's why I went to collect your beer. Thank you very much, Brian.
Fantastic for that.
I was saying, you and Mess is really settling into your roles there. You provide beer. Mess apparently provides pizza weekly now. And you are both superheroes in my book.
I'm not sure it was Messrs. He's denying knowledge of
Oh,
it. Maybe
is
he was
he?
just denying knowledge of the beer. Des says, I'd rather be a pear than a bear. Come on, Worcester. Well, the Bears obviously aren't in this one. The Bear is not here today, and the Bears are not in these finals.
It is indeed one of the men that I mentioned before.
Yeah, promotion up the order for the skipper.
Road to the crease.
Send for me, sir.
Yes, I did. This ship is filthy, Mr. Christian.
And he starts with a strong sweep towards the square leg boundary. He's off the mark straight away with a single. The equation for Notts now is 47 required from 39 balls under a cloudless Birmingham sky.
Steve Hipcott, as updating one of our jingles, says, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy, bringing you experiments in classical conditioning, hashtag Pavlov.
This is nudged out to cover point by Ben Duckett. Moeen had come round the wicket to him and just tossed it up outside the off stump. They come through for another single.
Brian001 also says, enjoy the liquids. I'm off to my granddaughter's 5th birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday from us gorillas.
I had you pegged as a much younger man, Brian, but you're certainly very
cricket.
generous.
Well, you don't have to be that old, actually, to have a granddaughter of 5.
He's going to be over 40, though, isn't he? This is swept
I will
from
repeat,
outside the
you
off
don't
stump.
have to be that old to have a granddaughter of 5.
It hits him on the pad, balloons up, and there is no run. It remains 102 for 2.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble that Worcestershire have taken, but I think a necessary one to bowl Moeen through with still some time left. Pat Brown's only got 1 over left.
It's one of those situations where you've got to, really, otherwise the game may be gone, and you've held back your big guns, not even giving it a lash. This is speared into middle and leg by Moeen, and Christian plays it up to long on. They come through for a single. That's the end of the over. A successful one for Moeen. It's 103 for 2.
Yeah, great spell from Moeen. 4 overs, 1 for 13. Superb in the quarter-final with the ball. Superb with the quarter-final with the ball in the semi-final too.
Grits and Gats has sent us a rather interesting graphic of 3 gorillas who are in the sort of the 3-monkey hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil mode, which is rather fun. Saying, what was it like to follow this Guerrilla Cricket this summer?
Someone's done a Photoshop course.
Well, it's very nice. Very nice indeed.
So yes, Bucket Den Bucket, as I might call him from now on,
Den
has 25. Christian has only just come to the crease. He has 2.
I did think he was looking a little pale.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what though, his face is still very squashed and pudgy, isn't it?
Well, he does just.
He looks like a little.
He looks like
pug.
he's going to punch you any second.
It looks like someone's just drawn a straight line across the top of his head.
He's been squeezed. Now, one of the stars of the Worcestershire Rapids lineup, and very nearly takes a wicket with his first delivery of this spell. It's Wayne Parnell, I'm here to tell you, who came around the wicket, the left armour. Christian attempted to crash it through the covers, got an inside edge, and a brilliant bit of work by Cox behind the stumps to save that one, diving away to his left.
Parnell. Wayne Parnell.
Here he comes again round the wicket to left armour, full and outside the off stump, and driven by Christian. This time he does make contact, and they come through for a single as the ball is fielded on the extra cover boundary.
Yeah, Wayne Parnell was hit for 3 4s in a row by Chris Nash through the leg side, which got Nottinghamshire ahead of the rate, where they've been pretty much all day ever since. The field for Ben Duckett is backward point, well, short third man, backward point, man on the cover boundary, extra cover mid-off. And I think long on is back as his deep square leg.
And that backward point is just going back to the boundary there. I should suspect that man there is there as much for the reverse sweep, even to the faster bowlers.
Extra covers come up catching.
Yeah. So Duckett faces up, does get a ball outside the off stump, a slower ball. I think he ran his fingers across that one, a bit of a leg cutter. And Duckett was beaten, really, because he was through the shot very early, didn't make contact, through to the keeper, and there is no run. So well
folded
bowled.
Beautifully, didn't it?
Yeah.
He was through with the shot before the ball was past him.
Yeah. How many overs does Pat Brown have left?
1.
1 left. I was saying to Knuckle next door, he looks like an old-fashioned sort of player when you look at the sort of stamp of a man that he is, but he's very much the epitome of the modern T20 bowler with pretty much a different ball. Every ball is Brown. Anyway, we're watching Parnell at the moment. Shorter ball, and it's pulled with no grace at all, really, by Duckett. The ball is fielded at mid-wicket, and they come through for a single. So yes, I like Pat Brown. Perhaps later on I'll take you through something that I shared with Knuckle, which is my notional England T20 lineup made up of 11 players who are as yet uncapped.
And qualified for England.
And we think that all of them are qualified for England, yes. Parnell round the wicket to Christian. It gets a shortish ball just outside the off stump. He's back in his crease, leaning back and steering it out to the point boundary. A bit untidy on the bounce on the way in. It defeated Cox, and they stick to 1.
Yeah, I think Notts will be well advised Worcestershire will be well advised not to put too much in Dan Christian's half. He's a massive man.
Well, he's thick set, isn't he?
Very powerful.
He hits what they call a long ball. Now we've got a few, obviously lots and lots of fancy dress there at Edgbaston today. We're seeing a handful of beekeepers in the middle of what is probably the Hollies stand.
It's a hive of activity in there.
Hey, this is pulled with a bit more timing this time by Duckett, but the result is the same, just coming through for a single as it's fielded on the mid-wicket boundary, and the score after 15 overs has gone off the screen, 107 for 2, I think.
Muttley is sending a picture of Hyacinth Bucket saying it's bouquet. I think that refers
Duquet.
to Duquet.
Yes.
Ben
Duquet.
Hello.
Eh oui.
Je m'appelle
Antoine
Levesque. Antoine Levesque. I sound like I should be a dancer.
Well, it's the we have now the terrifying prospect of Hyacinth Bouquet, played by Pepe Le Pew.
What?
Pepe Le Pew?
Was that it?
Voiced, of course, by none other than Mel Blanc.
Yeah, he voiced pretty much every one of those characters.
Bugs Bunny? Yeah. Imagine being Mel Blanc back in the day. What a life he must have lived. I bet he was an
Elmer Fudd.
I bet he was an absolute. I bet he was a womanizer, a user of all sorts of substance. He's probably dead, so no, I'm not going to get sued.
Sadly, he is, but comparatively recently.
This is a reverse slap sweep from Ben Duckett. He has an array of reverse sweeps in his armoury, and that was a pretty violent one, and it just gets him a single.
They've brought back the sort of slow cutters of Daryl Mitchell. So it's like a T20 has brought the sort of the specialist cutter bowler back into fashion.
Specialist dob,
sort of almost SF Barnes like.
He trots in, looks like a spinner, but probably isn't turning it much. In fact, isn't, because that's not what he's there for. It's just outside the off stump. It's played in ungainly fashion once again by Christian up to mid-off. Flat batted, and they come through for another single. It's 109 for 2. And we're halfway through the, what is it? 16th over. This is speared in as Duckett backs away to the leg side. Followed in with that one, did Mitchell. An attempted slap over the onside. Under edgy, off his body, untidy, no run.
Brian 001 tells us he has 9 grandkids now.
Wow.
Heavens above.
Ages 12 years to 4 months. So again, he doesn't make him an old chap.
A ball that's speared into the stumps. Duckett backs away and slaps it to cover, and it's fielded by a diving Moeen, and there is no run. Wow. What was that? 9 grandchildren, did you say?
Well, yeah, so I would have thought for a second.
And he's tried to lob this over Ben Cox. Cox, anticipating it, got up from his crouching position and looked skyward. Couldn't locate the ball for a couple of vital seconds, and eventually it dropped down just behind
that was
him.
So nearly brilliant.
Oh yeah, actually he got something in the way. That was superb. You remember when Peter Schmeichel used to rush out and make him star jump in front of the onrushing striker? That's exactly what Cox did there.
Back to that, what Cox just did after this ball.
This is swept much more successfully this time by Duckett. 1 bounce, and that's 4 down to long leg. Good shot.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So I've seen you often see keepers anticipating going down the leg side, but what Ben Cox did there so brilliantly was recognise that the ball was going to go in the air. He jumped up, so he anticipated both on line and on height. It did hit him in the head and kind of went anywhere. It used to be the case that if a close fielder or a wicketkeeper was hit in the helmet, it couldn't be a catch. That's now no longer the case. But yeah, brilliant from Ben Cox.
Yeah, fantastic anticipation, and almost got reward there.
They do say on the county circuit he is probably the best keeper in England along with Ben Foakes.
Well, let's get him in the England fold then. One thing that I was amazed about, I think I mentioned on air before, because I do like to return to some pet topics, when we had Sam Northeast in, and you'd think, because he's been in the Lions team and all that sort of stuff, and you'd think he's on the radar, he's in the wider kind of England reckoning. And I said, well, you must have some line of communication with the, with Bayliss and the coaching staff and the England setup. He said, no, nothing at all. And you think, that is short-sighted at best, isn't it? That's, what a way to manage your team and your squad moving forward. It just makes no sense to me, that.
Well, we've heard this from other countries as well. Karan Nair has said on a number of occasions that he's not really had much contact or told why he was in squads and out of squads. He's on the comeback trail yet again.
But even if people are, for whatever reason, not in the current thinking or not in the squads per se, you think you still want to be talking to those people, managing them, working with them, helping them.
Yeah. Although Sam Northeast said it kind of helped his game in a way because he wasn't thinking about it and was just playing.
Well, yeah, but you've got to do that anyway. But it seems very short-sighted to me not to do that as the England setup. This is lofted towards mid-on. There's no one there. 1 bounce to the man running in from the long-on boundary. And they come through for a single. That's Christian with the single. Barnard is back on bowling.
Yeah, 4 overs left, including this one. And plenty of options for Moeen Ali. Pat Brown's got 1 left. And Barnard, Mitchell, Parnell and Morris have all bowled 2. Barnard into his 3rd. And they've also got Brett D'Oliveira as an option as well. I think Parnell presumably will bowl 2.
Yeah, and Brown will definitely bowl his 1. This is a slog, sweep down on 1 leg from Duckett. A couple of bounces into the backward square leg boundary. Not pretty, but effective.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he deliberately lofted that one. Didn't look great, but he timed it well enough, and he has very strong wrists, Ben Duckett. Not least when he's pouring beer over Jimmy Anderson. The control he exhibited.
I say, what are you suggesting there? Mel Blanc, by the way, died in 1986, just so you know. Or 1989, I beg his pardon.
This is a cut, but one where he's bending his arse towards square leg there, Duckett. Everything he's doing at the moment is very ungainly and unattractive, but he is scoring runs for his team, and probably the runs that are going to take his team to the final today. That one was cut to point, and there is no run. Mel Blanc died in 1986 at the age of, 80? Something like that?
89.
89 he was.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
No, he died in 1989.
Died in 89. I thought you said 86.
I'll tell you how old he was when he died.
I'm guessing 81.
At least, I think.
Barnard round the wicket to duck it. The ball just outside off stump. He backs away. He cuts it through point.
He was 81, yes.
And come back for 2. Was he?
Yes, and curiously enough, Elmer Fudd he didn't voice originally. He was the only one of the voices he didn't voice. That was done by somebody else, but he took over voicing it after that somebody else died.
So who was Fred Quimby in that setup? Was
he was the producer for things like the Tom and Jerry cartoons, which was a different studio.
It's funny how you remember these things, because you obviously see them hundreds and hundreds of times on the screen as you've been watching.
That was
he was a Tom and Jerry producer.
That was MGM as opposed to Warner Brothers.
A slower ball outside the off stump and slashed by Duckett. Half stopped by the man at backward point. Duckett comes through for a single. Takes the score to 121 for 2. 27 now required from 19 balls. This still looks very comfortable for Notts. But you never know, a couple of quick wickets.
He was a lifelong smoker, was Mel Blanc. You'll never guess what is written on his tombstone.
What's up, Doc?
Oh,
no, that's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. Of course.
Yeah, man of 1,000 voices he was known as.
All of them the same.
All of them.
Christian gets the ball just off stump and muscles it through mid-on. It's fielded by Pat Brown on the boundary there, or running in from the boundary. They come through for a single. 3 overs remain and 26 are required. In the old days, that would look like a challenging chase, but today, not so.
It's the kind of chase that is screw-upable, but I think Notts would have to screw it up pretty badly from here with 8 wickets in hand.
Yep. Let's see what was. It's really up to Worcestershire now to try to wrest control of this game. Moeen is having a think. He's having a chat to the umpire. I don't know what sort of advice he's getting there. Looks like Pat Brown's coming on to bowl. He is striding with purpose towards the middle, holding his cap in his hand, which he now gives to the umpire.
So that means Parnell won't bowl out.
3 overs left. Well, he'll bowl at least one of them. You'd be surprised if he didn't. Pat Brown is going to complete his allocation right now. He'll be bowling to Dan Christian, who has 7. Duckett has 39. And Notts 122 for 2 in pursuit of 148. Worcestershire having been snookered on 147 earlier on. Yeah, I do like Pat Brown. He'd definitely be in the England 2020 setup for me. Now, hang on, there's been a change of thought, because having handed his cap to the umpire, he's now retrieved it, and Parnell is coming into the attack, so perhaps Parnell will bowl his
I think Moeen might have just redone the maths there on that one.
Parnell.
Like
Wayne Parnell.
Wayne Parnell it is. So yes, it looks like he's going to bowl his full allocation of 4. I'd be amazed if it's not Pat Brown from the other end, however. Moeen, I think, had a momentary lapse there where he forgot how many each of his bowlers has bowled. Perfectly understandable, of course. Standing there as a captain with so many things going through your mind.
T20 captaincy is very taxing.
Yes. So round the wicket he comes, Parnell, the left-hander. It's swung away by Christian. A very Dan Christian shot, that. Swung away high, wide and handsome over the leg side. Perhaps Pat Brown should have been bowling after all. It's 6 runs. Yeah, that really is Dan Christian's shot, isn't it? He's a very, very strong man, and he's underlined that fact once again. Just stood there, the ball was speared in, really angled in towards his leg stump, and that's not the ball to bowl to him. Swung not really through the line, across the line, but connected so well it flew. This is a bit straighter, still on a similar angle though, and he backs away and rather flat bats that straight towards long on, and they come through for a single. So just 19 required from 16 now.
Need another wicket, don't they? If they could disturb the rhythm these two have got themselves into, all may not be lost for Worcester, but the odds are heavily set against them, I would
They were
suggest.
at least 20-25 runs short, I think, and once Chris Nash got them off to a good start, it was always going to be just a case of maintaining. It's difficult for Moeen. I mean, I think he probably did the right thing trying to bowl both Parnell and Brown out, but
it's coming over the wicket. An extraordinary shot here from Duckett. Changed his mind about 3 times there. Stepped across his stumps. Was looking to ramp it over his shoulder down towards long leg. Ended up playing it the other way. It went pretty fine, and it rolls into the third man boundary for one of these.
2 + 2 is a member.
Parnell's not been at his best today. He really hasn't bowled in the way that has been effective on this pitch. His changes of pace haven't stuck in the wicket enough. He's given too much room for the batters to swing their arms, to free their arms.
Well, I think he saw Duckett coming across his stumps, aimed it wide of the off stump. It probably would have been a wide anyway had he not connected, but that's the reason he also changed his shot to play it on the offside behind square rather than the leg side, because it was so wide. This one is whipped into the leg side. Parnell is racing across into the mid-wicket area, which was surprisingly vacant, to try to do his own fielding. Meanwhile, the batsmen have scampered through for 2, and this looks pretty easy now. 13 from 14 required.
You say surprisingly, and you might think, obviously you would have a deep mid wicket at this stage of an innings, but with the run rate so low,
I think at this stage you've got to take wickets, haven't you?
You've got to bring the field up a little bit more than you might otherwise at this stage of the innings.
Yeah, I'd be of a mind to sort of bring everyone in now and say, well, if you want to hit over the top, hit over the top, but we increase our chance of getting a catch in the sort of inner ring. This is pulled by Duckett, fielded on the mid-wicket boundary. They come through for a single. He's nearing his 50, has 46.
We'd said it was initially going to be Pat Brown who was 1 over left, but Moeen quickly redid the maths, and 2-ton Ted replied disastrously.
Yeah, he was going to bowl Pat Brown, and I think then realised that he wouldn't be able to bowl Brown out. Obviously made the gamble that whoever bowled this over will be able to leave Brown with enough to defend, and he still might. Pat Brown's a really good bowler.
Oh, totally.
But Duckett and Christian have had the measure of Parnell in this over.
Is that 2-ton Ted from Teddington, and he drives the ice cream van?
Baker's van.
The Baker's van. I don't know why I said ice cream. Yeah. And Ted went for his bun.
He did.
This is another flat-batted shot backing away from Dan Christian. Again, not pretty, but effective enough, getting a single up to long off. So 11 are required from the last 2 overs. Should be a stroll in the park. Dan Christian calls for a drink. Does look quite thirsty work there.
Ernie bit the dust.
15 off the over.
Yeah.
Arthurshire, our own Arthurshire.
Hello, Arthurshire.
The one and only Arthurshire says, going terrifically for Worcestershire, I see. It's not. You are a man of Worcester, aren't you, Arthurshire, from my recollection? So, no, it's not looking like it's going to be your day, my friend. I'm sorry to say. Barring some kind of miracle. Any kind of miracle, but it's something spectacular is going to have to happen.
Specifically a cricket-related miracle.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to see someone walking on water or turning 5 fishes and loaves into feeding the 5,000. That's not going to help their cause.
Turning water into wine would always be handy.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I went to see Jesus Christ Superstar over the summer.
Did you?
Absolutely terrific it was.
Good.
Brilliant.
I saw it years ago.
Written in 1970.
School. I
Believe
know.
it. So fresh.
I know, it's crazy.
It's probably the only Andrew Lloyd Webber musical I actually like.
It's definitely... Yeah, I'm not a musical kind of guy as a rule, but I do like that one. And it was at the Barbican. Same production they did in Regent's Park last year. Apparently that in Regent's Park was magical because it was set as the sun was going down, and as the story gets darker and darker, so did the skies.
Ooh.
Anyway, we are seeing your man Pat Brown, who we thought we were going to see in the previous over, but his re-entry into the attack was delayed due to maths.
We've got third man back on the boundary. We've got a backward point man back on the point boundary. Cover mid-off. There's a short fine leg, and everyone else is back on the leg side for Dan Christian, the right-hander.
Dark-haired, dark-browed, and probably dark of mood at the moment. Pat Brown coming into bowl over the wicket to Dan Christian. It's a slower ball, and it's caught at mid-off by Moeen Ali. So immediate effect there from Pat Brown. It was, if you can start with a slower ball, he certainly did. Christian attempted to loft it over mid-off, didn't get enough of it. And reaching above his head with both hands, Moeen Ali pouched the catch, and maybe a glimmer of hope here for Worcestershire.
Possibly too little too late, but if they needed a miracle, it wasn't quite a miracle, but
That's
it was
the way to start,
a
though.
heck of a catch by Moeen Ali. Fantastic.
Yeah, catching's been good on both sides today.
I'd like to see that ball again, whether he just ran his fingers over it like a little off-cutter, or it was just so regular. It was a version of a slower ball. He's got about 5 or 6 slower balls, whether it was kind of the knuckle one or the off-cutter. Don't know, but it did the trick, and it is bringing a new batsman to the crease.
I think there's been a promotion up the order, if I can read that name right. Or is that Joe Clark that
run a ball
as he's striding out to the middle? So a deep. He was scheduled to bat at number 3. No, it's Tom Moores.
His dad sent him out there. Said, no pressure, son, but don't fuck this up.
Well, he seems like a nice guy, Peter Moores. With that very public sort of falling out with England, didn't he?
Well, he's
twice.
He's going to have some serious conversations with the board about NOTTS' red ball cricket this year.
What? They've not won a single game, have they?
No, it's been a disaster.
Lamentable. Anyway, here they are on finals day with a very good chance of getting to the final. Another slow ball from Pat Brown outside the off stump. Moores drives this to wide mid off, going to get off the mark straight away with a single.
Tom Moores has been very good in the latter part of the innings for NOTTS all year. He's fast score. I think he's their fastest scorer this year, behind Dan Christian, at least faster than Alex Hales.
Yeah. Has Hales played kind of the full season for NOTTS? I think there was a little bit of a send-off there from Pat Brown.
He missed a couple of games.
Dan Christian.
Oh no, he went to the CPL, I think, in between the quarter and the semi.
That's right.
So yeah, I think he's been available for the whole year.
Such is the life of the peripatetic cricketer these days. Well, wouldn't we all do it, given the opportunity? Yes, we would.
Yes. If you look at the number of clubs he's played for, Dan Christian, it's just ludicrous.
And around the wicket, a premeditated sweep from Duckett, a regulation sweep, i.e. not a reverse one this time. It's fielded on the 45. They come through for a single, which is Ben Duckett's 47th this afternoon. And the equation, quite simple, is 9 from 9. That nice, what my dad would call an open face. When he likes the look of a young chap, which is not that often. He says he's got a nice open face. I don't really know what that means, other than he looks like a sort of nice person. And that smile that was...
That's the bat he's referring to, isn't it? He says a nice open face.
True.
Not actually the mug, as it were. The visage. The clock.
Fade to grey.
Hey?
Didn't Visage do Fade to
Grey?
Grey?
They did, yes, they did, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just playing, whatever that game's called. Connections.
We've gone from Pavlov to word association now.
Word association. Round the wicket comes Pat Brown.
Oh!
This is high in the air. Attempted swing away over the leg side. It's high in the air. Has that been caught? It has been caught on the long-on boundary. Who's pouched that? Who it is? He's removed his hat and bowed at the crowd as he did that out of the shadows. And another wicket has fallen here for NOTTS. Are they just wobbling at the vital moment?
I think that was Charlie. I think it might have been Ed Barnard down on the long on boundary. Difficult at Edgbaston. Difficult catching conditions with the shade and the sun.
Right.
He's under that the shadow of that massive pavilion. That went miles in the air from Tom Moore. A knuckleball which barely got to the other end. And yeah, very well judged down at long on. Is there hope for Worcestershire after all? Ricky Vessels.
He might want to not be at the family dinner tonight.
Also, he's peroxided the top of his hair.
Oh,
and when you get out for two like that in this sort of chase, it makes you look like a right pillock. Anyway, Mulaney it is who's come to the crease.
Where is Joe Clark?
Well, sounds like a play, that, doesn't it? He's... I mean, it should still be pretty easy, this, for NOTTS, because they only need 9 from 8 balls. But Pat Brown is bowling a pretty good over here for his side, and just giving him a glimmer of hope. Ben Duckett, all of a sudden, will feel that pressure ramping up on his
and reverse ramping up
shoulders.
And paddle sweeping up.
Exactly. Yes.
Arthur Shear says I tuned in at the right moment.
Yes.
And Rebel Scum Yates Esquire, DSN, QZN, BC Honours, CNA. Is that Captain Mike Yates? I think it is. Says, pleasant open face was a phrase much used by Terence Dix when writing about Peter Davidson's Doctor
Who. Was it really?
Well, there you go.
I don't think that's where my old man got it from, but nice to know it's not just him. Round the wicket comes Brown, and this is just nudged into the leg side more circumspectly by Ben Duckett. They obviously crossed. Oh, there's going to be a run out. There's going to be a run out.
Oh, Lord.
And it's going to be Mulaney who's going to have to go, I think, for a diamond duck, because Duckett had turned and was coming back for... Was he coming back for the second, or was it just the one?
This would be an incredible...
Mulaney...
There must be a run out here.
Of the yips.
How tragic.
If they cock this
how
up.
Tragic, how tragic, how tragic.
Yeah, I was just thinking this would be a remarkable cock-up from Nottinghamshire to lose with so many wickets remaining. Yeah, they wanted the second, or rather,
right, yeah.
Mulaney wanted the second.
Yeah, a few words, unsurprisingly, there between Mulaney and Duckett. So they'd only run one. I beg your pardon. I thought it was they're similarly built, aren't they, Mulaney and Duckett. Anyway, here comes one of my favourite cricketers in the world.
One of our favourite jingles.
It's this man.
Hey, Summit.
Yes, Dad. Start it while he's walking in this
I've
time.
got something to say.
Uh-huh.
I really love the skillful way You beat the other players to the lunch buffet.
Oh, Dad,
For the first time this series you ran it.
Damn it.
The cheese board's now ours, so let's scram it.
Damn it.
But please don't take pomegranate.
Damn it.
I've one thing to say, and that's damn it, Sammit. There's Irish stew. Your bell is no longer like granite.
Damn it.
The corset's not working, let's can it.
Damn it.
Your moves are approaching Titanic.
Damn it.
I've one thing to say, and that's damn it, Sammit. There's the thong crew. Andy Flower thinks that you're a joker.
Oh, loath as I am to move away from that jingle, it is Patel who gets the ball just outside the off stump from Brown, and he guides it to backward point. A little bit of a wise head here from the Notts stalwart. They come through for a single. Pat Brown, however, has bowled a wonder over there. 3 wickets fell during it. He took 2, and there was that comical run out. And 7 off 6 is the equation for the final over.
Fantastic over from Pat Brown. What was that? 3 runs off the over, plus 2 wickets, plus the run out.
He must play for England soon. Pat Brown, I'm going to take you through, not right now, but later on today, my non-England as yet 2020 team. And he's definitely in it, I'll tell you that for now.
4 runs, because of course there was one run before the run out. It is going to be Wayne Parnell to bowl the last 7 needed off 6.
Bet they wish they could have Brown bowling the last one as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a highly effective performer, is Wayne Parnell, and has been very good for Worcestershire the last couple of years. But he's going to be bowling to the hugely experienced Samit Patel, who's just faced 1 delivery and has 1 run. 7 runs required from this last over. Should still be easy, but it's a lot less easy than it looked about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, suddenly from nowhere came on.
Yeah. We appear to have
7 off the over though.
A man on the one at point, a man on the one at cover or extra cover, a man on the one at mid off. So I'm expecting to see offside deliveries here. Just outside the off stump, on the angle as well. He does bowl from wide of the crease, Parnell, and Patel rather fiddles at that one. And it's through to the keeper. There's no run, so it's 7 from 5 now. How squeaky are those collective arses right now? Squeakier than they were.
It would
a few
be a
minutes
heck
ago.
of a turnaround.
Oh my
it?
goodness!
I think
yeah.
From Worcester's perspective, if they were to pull this
Kept
off,
a bit low that one as well. This pitch is not blameless.
Took everything off it though, Parnell. I mean, he really rolled his fingers across that.
Here he comes again. Wide of the crease once more and spearing it in. This is crashed over cover this time. Doesn't quite time it though, so it's going to come through for 1 as it's fielded by the man running in. 6 off 4 required now.
Duque is the man.
Duque, 2 short of his own personal milestone. Hopefully he's not thinking about that though, because there's a job to do for his team, the little squashy-faced man. Been there since the start, of course. He's in danger of not carrying his bat as such, but batting through the innings.
No, he came in at... didn't open, did he?
Oh, he didn't open, beg your pardon. No, he didn't open.
Came in at 3 or 4, I think.
What am I talking about? Opened for England, of course, a few years ago. Seems a long time ago, that now, doesn't it?
Yeah, the autumn of 2017 did very well in the one-day series in Bangladesh. Got his go in the test team, then got moved down to number 4, and then got moved out to the side.
2016, I think it was. 2016, wasn't it?
It was, yes, of course.
Yeah.
2017.
That was a long winter, that for Gorilla.
Bangladesh and India.
Bangladesh, India. Those long winter nights and conversations starting with the words, "The wicket is down."
But didn't they just fly by?
Didn't they just fly by? Parnell, just full length. Duckett attempts to swat it high over the leg side, gets an under edge into his boot. It trickles out onto the offside, and they come through for 1. So 5 from 3 now the equation.
Do you try and finish it with 1 and just get it done? Do you keep looking for
I
the
would
1s and 2s?
expect Samit to, if it is there, if the opportunity is there, he might try and finish it with 1 lusty blow.
He is a glorious timer of the ball.
Yeah. He has only just come to the crease though. It's hard to do that. But yeah, if he sees it up in his half and it's there to drive or whatever, then
remember there is a super over that will split the teams if there is a tie.
I think I've had enough of super overs for life after this summer. Patel is the man on strike. He has just 2. Notts 1-4-3 for 5 in the final over of this first semi-final of finals day at Edgbaston, needing 5 from the last 3 deliveries.
Tell you, this pitch is not going to be easy to bat on come the end of the second semi.
Round the wicket comes Parnell again. This is the top edge. He's tried to flick it over the leg side. Is there anyone there? There isn't. The man racing in. He's not going to get there. They come through for a couple there, so it's going to be 3 required off the last 2. And you would not have expected it to come down to this. The match is tapering very, very fast, and you'd have expected Notts to have knocked it off by now, wouldn't you?
You would.
And not even put themselves in the position of this happening.
You think Hales, if Hales had stayed in 2 more overs, it'd be done and dusted by now, don't you?
Yep.
But he didn't.
Almost some overthrows there. Whoever fielded that wanged it high above Ben Cox's head, but there was some good old-fashioned backing up that prevented the buzzers. One of the support staff from the Notts bench has trotted on to do something. He's getting a round of applause.
Well, no, that was... I can't think of the chap's name.
Parnell, round the wicket, spears it in. This is crashed through the leg side by Patel. It's going to be fielded there on the point boundary. They're going to come back for 2, are they?
No,
they're not.
They're not.
So just the one threat momentarily of a run out there as well. 2 required from 1 ball all of a sudden. How has it come to this? How on earth has it come to this? I just don't understand. This is incredible stuff. And things like this, you know when run chases need 80 off the last 4 and they do it somehow, something ridiculous. That's the equivalent, but the bowling side. 2 required off the last ball. The same as it was in the World Cup final. The same as it was in the Super Over. And this is all of a sudden become an absolute classic. 2 from the last ball. That same member of the support staff, whose name Tony couldn't remember, is back onto the pitch to do something. We don't know what. Conversations happening all over the pitch.
Ben Cox has called for a helmet. He's coming up to the stumps for Wayne Parnell.
Yep, good idea.
I think the umpire has just sent that Notts ground staff member off because the guy was holding a drink, I think.
Oh, the old Nasser Hussain. No, he can't have a drink. It's not a drinks break. I know it's 45 degrees, but you can't. There. And talking to Nasser, there he is on our screen, along with Bumble, Rob Keezy and Tresco in the background. The sainted Marcus Trescothic. Annie, I hope you're sitting down if you're listening, because I know what happens when you mention his name. Duckett, 49 not out. Will he get his 50? More importantly, will Notts get the 2 they require to win this semi-final?
Will we see a super over?
These and other questions will be answered in the very near future.
Anything can happen in the next half minute. As ever, when things get tense, the last over seems to take an eternity.
Yeah,
I think Sumit Patel would have bowled out in the time it's taken Parnell to bowl this over.
The gap between balls gets increasingly long, doesn't it, when the game runs like this? Yeah. Well, it's going to happen soon. Duckett is surveying the scene. He looks a bit nervous to me. Moeen looks, as he ever does, in control of things.
Luke Fletcher, there's the chap you were trying to think of, or I was desperately trying to think of.
One of the non-playing members.
Yeah,
okay.
the man who took that fearsome blow on the head, and we were even started a discussion for quite a long time about bowlers wearing helmets, didn't there?
There is a bowler in New Zealand whose name temporarily escapes me who does bowl with a helmet. Anyway, last
Here
ball.
we go. It is the last ball. Parnell in, and he doesn't bowl it. Which Sri Lankan bowler did that when England were chasing a total? And I remember going, "You git."
Surajrandev?
No, it wasn't. It was
Senanayaka?
It might have even been Angelo Matthews. It was a canny bit of play.
We're just going through Sri Lankan bowlers.
I thought it might have been Angelo Matthews, but anyway, as it turned, I think he was bowling to Ravi Bopara. And England had managed the chase really well. Probably needed one of them. Anyway, forget that. Parnell over the wicket to Duckett. He has a big swing. It's fielded there. They've lost. Notts have lost in the most incredible fashion.
Would you believe
He's not made contact with the ball. Ben Cox had come up to the stumps. He did the fielding scruffily as it turned out. Couldn't care less. And Worcestershire Rapids win the first semi-final by 1 run. That is absolutely extraordinary.
Wonderful from Worcestershire, but from the position that Nottinghamshire were in, let's have a look at what they were. When they lost Dan Christian, they were so at one point Worcestershire were 25-1 to win this game.
Wow.
So they were 137 for 2 going into the last 2 overs. At that point, they needed 11 to win, and they've ended up losing with a dot ball off the last ball of the game. That's somewhat criminal from Nottinghamshire, but incredible from Worcestershire.
Well, as Knuckles want to say from time to time, cricket, bloody hell. And once again it is delivered, hasn't it? I mean, it looked like it was meandering to a fairly dull conclusion, this game. But Worcestershire Rapids, led by the redoubtable, cool as you like, Moeen, have pulled it out of the fire. The most extraordinary defence of a lowish total, particularly from where Notts were. They win by 1. And Derbyshire and Essex will fight it out in due course to see who has the right to play Worcestershire in the final.
And the dream of the the double for Worcestershire is on. They would be the first team to win back-to-back finals days. Yes, it was a slightly scruffy bit of work from Ben Cox, but he'd come up to the stumps for a reason to prevent that run through to the keeper. Great planning and great street smarts from Ben Cox. It meant that there was no chance of a bye tying the game. Fumbled the ball, but eventually picked up, knocked the bails off. Not that Ben Duckett was going anywhere. And Ben Duckett ends up 49 not out off 42 balls. But more importantly, Nottinghamshire have lost by 1 run.
Shades of Flintoff consoling Brett Lee at the end there, as a couple of the Worcestershire players went up to Ben Duckett. He was down on his haunches, absolutely beside himself with temporary grief, as well he might be.
We don't know what they actually said, of course.
But also, yeah.
Might have been, take that, you little squidgy face git, but I suspect it wasn't.
Now, there's been plenty of talk about that famous last ball in the regulation part of the World Cup final. I won't keep harping on about the World Cup final, but there are similarities here because England needed 2 off that final ball. And in many circumstances, you'd expected Ben Stokes to swing it over square leg as he'd done previously and kind of win the game with 1 blow. But he decided just to sort of bunt it up into the leg side. And the reason for that is that you're sort of playing the percentages. You're thinking, right, we're definitely going to tie this match. If it goes our way and if I get it in the gap, we could get the 2 that we need to win it. But either way, we're staying in the game. And Ben Duckett took the decision to gamble there, tried to swing it away over the leg side. He knows that Ben Cox is standing up to the stump, so if he doesn't make contact, he's not going to get a run. And the gamble spectacularly
it was
did not
somewhere
pay off.
between a swing and a nudge. I thought he was just trying to sort of nudge this backward a point, but it wasn't. It wasn't drop and run.
It absolutely wasn't. No, it was a kind of a. But maybe there was a bit of muddled thinking there in his head. He did look incredibly nervous, I thought, Ben Duckett.
He did. Well, as were some of our tweeters, because they went rather quiet for a while, probably wrapped up in the tension of it all. And Muttley indeed did say, "This is 2 tenths." A wigwam and a marquee. He didn't say that bit, I added that bit. Lennox Lear said, "Get ready for action, anything can happen in the next 30 minutes, #Stingray. Muttley said, "Yes, that's my bet 1. Well done, Mutters." Moomat says, "You jinxed it." I'm not quite sure saying to who, Arthur Shear and us. I'm not sure how, but apparently we did. Arthur Shear just simply says, "Woohoo, I anti-jinxed it." Muttley says, "What an amazing summer it has been this year. Woof."
Yeah, quite right. Bloody hell.
Spangly Sigh says, "How the hell did that happen? I mean to echo, aka Arthur Shear, woohoo, but how?" Rebel Scum Yates, etc. says, "By the gods, I said on Guerrilla Cricket that Worcestershire needed something special, and bloody hell, they've gone and done it."
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, superb from Pat Brown in the 19th over. 4 runs only off it, plus 2 wickets, plus the run out. Moeen Ali's got man of the match for his energetic and beautiful 21 off 9 balls with those 3 straight sixes, and his quite brilliant spell of 4 overs, 1 for 13, keeping the brakes on. As we thought, in vain through the middle overs, and then really good work from Wayne Parnell, having been very ineffective throughout the game, ended up being able to defend 7, but Nottinghamshire,
what a choke, you have to say.
That is a choke. They've turned 11 from 12 balls with 8 wickets remaining into a loss with a dot ball off the last ball.
I'm speechless. Well, I'm not speechless because I've got a mic here and I'm saying words, but Worcestershire, hats off. I kind of, you come into this. My team, Somerset, didn't make finals day, unfortunately. So I'm relatively neutral as far as it goes. But I want it to be a Worcestershire Derbyshire final. Laying my cards on the table. I love this Worcestershire side. They're sort of underrated in lots of ways. They sort of fly under the radar. They're brilliant last year. They were the outsiders of 4 last year and won the tournament.
It's a similar position to where Derbyshire find themselves.
Derbyshire, yeah, and Derbyshire are actually my my glib tip for today, if you're interested. Got them at 7-2. They're the outsiders of the 4 this year. Anything can happen.
Yeah, we're seeing that last ball again. You're right. It was a big head-up swing from Ben Duckett. Swung right over the top of the ball.
You at least got to make sure you make contact. You know, back to if you compare it to Ben Stokes in the World Cup final, you've got to make contact with the ball to give yourselves the option and get at least a run. Doing what he did, you risk being able to get nothing, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, although the calculus with the keeper up to the stumps, the under edge, the thick edge can easily
still got to
fly
get
past
something
the
on
keeper.
it though.
Yeah,
it's kind of unforgivable to miss the ball.
That was kind of death or glory from Ben Duckett. Probably not high percentages, but look, he played well and through the innings, and probably didn't expect that it was going to come down to that. They didn't take the single. They couldn't take the single off the ball before that. Samit Patel hit it too hard straight to the fielder. Obviously, Samit's not very quick between the wickets.
Yeah, don't be in the same bar as Ben Duckett this evening if you are in the Birmingham area, would be my advice to you. Should we just wrap up with the card? Have you done the card?
I will do the card. I mean, the card doesn't really tell the story, to be honest. But Worcestershire made 147 for 9, with only really Moeen Ali with 21 off 9, and Ross Whiteley, who's 36 off 24, kept the game alive in the latter stages, really doing anything of note. Ricky Vessels played what should have been a match-losing innings, a 34 off 38. Matt Carter was superb for Notts with the ball, 4 overs, 3 for 32s. Harry Gurney, 4 overs, 2 for 27. Excellent work also from Stephen Mullaney, 4 overs, 2 for 32, and Samit Patel, 3 overs, none for 17, and a wicket for the skipper Dan Christian.
You
and then for Notts,
you say it's great work from Matt Carter, and I know he took 3 wickets, but going at 8 and over in the context of this match?
it looked a lot better at the time, put it that way, because he did get Hamish Rutherford for 5. He got Moeen Ali, the massive wicket of Moeen Ali, and then got Brett D'Oliveira as well. So 2 of those wickets were
if you're being brutal about
important.
limited overs cricket, you know, wickets as a bowler are immaterial. It's how many runs you can
I
see.
disagree. I think it's very difficult to restrict.
It does. But those figures, looking at it now, it's harsh to say so. And I'm not a bowler, so I don't really care. But
he got hit for a couple of sixes early by Moeen Ali, but then he got his wicket. So as far as we could tell, Matt Carter bowled really well at the time. Now, it was only what happened later that kind of put those
Knackle. I'm quite keen to get off air because do you know what's about to happen?
Yeah, I know.
Edgbaston, it's the bloody mascot race. I don't want to commentate the mascot race,
well,
even though not Fred would like us to.
Alex Hales made 52. Ben Duckett made 49 not out. Chris Nash got 24 of 16. But the stars of the show, Moeen Ali, 4 overs, 1 for 13. And Pat Brown, 4 overs, 2 for 21. We'll get off air and leave the people in the fuzzy suits to do their thing. Andy Ward is going to come in and commentate on the mascot race with Captain Mike Gates. I'll leave him to it.
Well, Captain Mike, I hope you can tell me which one's which. I'm just going to identify them by animals, mostly. It seems reasonably fair this time, because they've all got a big head and they've all got big shoes. Sometimes you see, you know, one mascot dressed like the Michelin Man in a very unwieldy uniform, and then the other one's just a guy in a hat and running shoes.
Some of the costumes and what animals they're supposed to be, it's not immediately obvious. I mean, Charlie the Fox, for example, you can see he's clearly a fox.
Yep.
The Somerset mascot, is it a dragon? Is it a cow? Is it something off Blake 7?
It could be. I've just finished for season 3 of Blake 7, actually. Did you know that was where they intended it to end?
Yes.
Yes. And then they and I was just reading that someone high up in the BBC liked it so much they told the continuity announcer to say that was not the end of it. And this was completely news to everybody who wrote it and directed it and starred in it.
I've got some vague memories from sort of those particular years, but yeah, from what I remember, the production team were going, well, we've just about had enough of it.
And it was a reasonably satisfying finish. You could tell it was sort of ending. And then they... anyway, we had the mascots. Now we've got Nasser Sain and Marcus Trescothick. Are we going to get the mascot race? Surely we are. That's what the crowd came to see.
Yeah, and the mascots don't want to be out there too long, because those mascot suits are quite warm.
Pretty hot, yeah. Who is your number one mascot of all time? Gunnosaurus is right up there, isn't he?
Well, the scariest mascot I've ever seen was actually at a baseball game in Cincinnati.
Yep.
The baseball team whose name I forget at the minute.
The Cincinnati Reds.
Possibly they have a they have a male character and a female character, and they're basically the head's giant baseballs.
Yep.
And the female baseball mascot.
Where this is going.
Yeah, looks. There's a real Bride of Frankenstein kind of thing going on there, and it's one that It was only a few years ago that I was over in Cincinnati, and it is one of the scariest things I have ever seen. If I was a child taken to a baseball game and saw that mascot,
it would freak you off baseball for your whole life.
Yes.
Well, I hope we are going to get it. They were teasing us with all the mascots at the starting line, and as I say, now we've got Nasser saying perhaps giving his opinions on the mascot race and who is his pre-race favourite.
Nasser may well be a closet furry. He may know a thing or two about fursuits.
You just never know who is. We're going to have the toss instead. This is rather disappointing. We were threatening a mascot race. They're all limbering up. Maybe we'll have to put this on hold until we get an actual mascot race. In which case, we're just going to put some highlights on. Thank you, Knackle.
It's all going